podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on Saturday, September 4th, 2021. This is episode 1825. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is supported by AT&T. If there are friends and family members you haven't talked to in a while, don't worry. It's never too late to reconnect. To help, AT&T is offering deals on the latest smartphones. It's not complicated. Everyone deserves something new, so AT&T is giving new and existing customers their best deals on every smartphone, even the latest ones. Restrictions and exceptions may apply. Visit att.com for details. And by Simply Safe. To save 20% on your Simply Safe security system and get your first month free when you sign up for interactive monitoring service, visit simplysafe.com/twit. Customize your system and start protecting your home and family with Simply Safe. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches, all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo is my phone number. 8888 Ask Leo. 888-827-5536. There you go. 888. It's easier to just do 8888 Ask Leo, actually, isn't it? That's the phone number if you want to talk high tech. Anything with a chip in it. Let's see, there's also a website. And that is techguylabs.com. I'm just trying to go slowly so you can get this all down. You got it all? You got it? Okay. Tech Guy. And that's free, by the way. But just it's a good thing to remember if you hear something on the show and you say, oh, boy, I need to know more about that. For example, Microsoft has broken Windows 11 by putting ads in it. What? What? If you are one of the Windows insiders downloading the new version of Windows 11, you might have noticed that your start menu and taskbar was crashing. Turns out it was caused, according to Daniel Alexanderson, by Windows 11 delivering ads for Microsoft Teams. And there's a registry fix that will remove it. But I'm sure Microsoft will fix that at some point. Kind of hard to believe, A, that Microsoft is putting ads in a paid operating system, and B, that it's crashing it. But there you go. I just thought I'd mention that in case you've had that problem. U.S. government is saying don't take Labor Day weekend off if you're in IT. Mass exploitation of a flaw in Atlassian's Confluence, which is actually, we use it. It's a widely used program to kind of document what you're doing in a system and so forth, is ongoing. The exploitation is ongoing according to the Cyber National Mission Force. I didn't even know there was such a thing, CNMF. U.S. Cybercom also stressed the importance of patching vulnerable Confluence servers as soon as possible. Here's the quote: "Please patch immediately if you haven't already. This cannot wait until after the weekend." Turns out long weekends like this are fertile ground for bad boys who like to put ransomware and things on your machines because people are going to be gone for a few days. Gives them some time. Action required. Patch immediately, says U.S. Cyber Command. Okay. Just passing this along. These are the important stories. I'm passing them along. Apple, remember we had all that conversation about Apple putting stuff on your iPhone to scan for child sexual abuse material? People getting upset that Apple was invading their phone. Apple said, no, we're going to do this in a way that's private and secure. And people said, but yeah, you shouldn't be scanning anything on my phone. Apple has now said, okay, based on feedback from customers, advocacy groups, research, and others, we've decided to take additional time over the coming months to collect input and make improvements before releasing these critically important child safety features. You see what you made us do? Apple's saying. You see? It's your fault. Okay, fine. Apple has also announced 8 states that will allow you to put your driver's license in your iPhone wallet. Connecticut, Iowa, Kentucky, Maryland, Oklahoma, and Utah will follow Arizona and Georgia. That's where it's going to happen first. I don't want to be the first person who gets pulled over by the highway patrol and says, "Here, officer, my driver's license is on my phone." I don't want to be that person. They need special hardware to read it. It's fine. Fine. We are waiting for an Apple event. We did not get an invite. I never do, but no one else did, for an event that would have presumably been Wednesday. Apple doesn't like to do events the day after the holiday. They want to do these iPhone events. The iPhone 13 is expected this month. They want to do these events usually on the first Tuesday of the month, but of course, first Tuesday this month is the day after Labor Day. They don't like to do that. So people were thinking maybe the 8th, but if it were the 8th, I think we would know by now. So now push it out. Let's say the second Tuesday, which is the 14th, which is the latest second Tuesday possible, according to my math. I might be wrong. My math's is notoriously not very good. September 14th. If you're waiting to hear about a new iPhone, perhaps a new Apple Watch, that would be the time. Expect chip shortages, however, to continue this year, slowing things down. Remember, it's not the main chip in the phone or the watch or the laptop, because Apple's ordered those ahead of time, and the company that makes them, the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, TSMC, is cranking them out as fast as their little feet can. They don't use their feet as their giant conveyor belts can. But it's the other little chips, the legacy nodes, as Apple calls them, the old stuff that is in short supply. So expect delays. Here's some interesting news. I've talked a lot about how I don't like Bluetooth. We'll talk about this with Scott Wilkinson later this hour, because it's highly compressed, so the audio is not very good. And I have yet to hear a good pair of Bluetooth headphones, at least one that could compare with wired headphones. That's about to change. Qualcomm has a new Bluetooth codec called AptX lossless that will sound as good as a wired pair of headphones, they say. It'll be as good as a CD or better. Don't worry, you have to get a new phone and a new hearing, headphones to do it, and those won't be available till early next year. So you have some time. No rush. Big story of the week, though, and I imagine we'll be talking more about this. Locast. If you watch free broadcast television, ad-supported broadcast television, or a show like this, ad-supported radio, you are the product. We are selling your ears, your listening, your viewership to advertisers. That's how we make money. You are the product. The advertisers are our customers, in effect. If you pay a cable company to watch those channels, then you are the customer, not the product. You're paying them. You're their customer, unless they're doing additional things to make you the product. And actually, that's what broadcast TV people do. Everything's moving to streaming, right? Even radio, even this great old format, this wonderful legacy format that we love so very much, even that is moving to the internet, right? Streaming is the thing, is the next big thing. We just know that's going to happen. Cable companies know that's going to happen, too. And broadcasters, most of all, know that that's going to happen. They're trying to figure out what to do. So broadcasters, this is a little complicated. You channel, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, the big, network television stations in that city near you, broadcast through the air for free. Advertising supported, in which case you're the product. They also have the choice to be on cable, but they have two choices. They can say, you have to carry us, cable companies, and the cable companies will put you on. Or they can say, we want retransmission rights. We want you to pay us. The cable companies can say no, but if they say yes, which they always do because you want Channel 5, right? So the cable companies then pay the TV stations for the right to put them on the cable. Retransmission rules. Complicated. The FCC set this up, so of course it's complicated. But that puts the broadcasters in this interesting position of making money on ads and making money on the cable companies. You are both the product and the consumer. And they like it because guess what? They're double dipping. They make a lot of money. So when a company comes along, like let's say Locast, and streams these channels over the internet without permission and without paying, these guys hate it. But wait, you might say, you're already doing that over, if I had an antenna, I could do it. I'm just, instead of using the antenna, I'm using the internet. And Locast will only give you stations that are in your area. They were in about half of the country. Like I'm in Northern California, but I'm far enough away from San Francisco that I can't use an antenna unless I had a very high antenna to get the local stations in San Francisco. So I could either pay cable or I could use Locast and stream it, and they would give me the San Francisco stations, except they can't anymore. So they had a clever trick, they thought, to get around this problem of, well, you can't make money streaming television stations without permission. So they said, well, we're not making money. We're a nonprofit. Do you know about Locast? Locast.org. You can't see it anymore. You used to be able to go there, and if you were in one of the covered markets, which again was more than half the U.S., you could watch your local stations for free, except every few minutes they'd interrupt them with a thing saying, hey, we're nonprofit, give us $5 a month. Cable companies really... the television stations really hated Locast, and they went after him. Actually, the cable companies probably too, because it's undermining everybody's business. If you can get local stations over the internet, you probably don't even need cable, right? So everybody hated him. Finally, a judge has ruled just this week that Locast is not doing it right because they're taking the $5. They shouldn't be making any money on it. The nonprofit rules mean you can't invest that $5 in improving your technology, expanding to other markets, and that's what they've been doing. So the judge said, stop it. So Locast said, okay, fine, and has shut down. Suddenly, this like yesterday. Boom. We are suspending operations effective immediately, says Locast. This was, you know what? I've been telling you about Locast for a couple of years now, recommending it, saying this is great, but also with the full knowledge that at some point the chickens were coming home to roost, and now they're living right there in the chicken house. As a nonprofit, Locast says on their website, front page, Locast was designed from the very beginning to operate in accordance with the strict letter of the law. I'm putting in the sigh, but deep sigh. But in response to the court's recent rulings with which we respectfully disagree, we are hereby suspending operations effective immediately. They might as well just add another sentence, and this is why we can't have nice things. Honestly, I didn't expect it to last. This was kind of inevitable. This was an example of trying to get around the law with a little bit of a loophole. Oh, we're a nonprofit, except maybe they weren't that much of a nonprofit because they were made $4 million last year, and they were taking that and expanding operations. And the judge said, you can't do that and be a nonprofit. So there. So they said, well, fine. So long. This is not the first company that's tried to do this. Remember Aereo? They also were put out of business by the U.S. Supreme Court. I don't know if Locast is going to appeal this. I don't know what they're going to do. But for now, sad to say, your free ride is over, kids. No more free ride. And the TV stations, once again, have won, and now they can double dip once again, charge your cable company, charge you thereby, and put ads in their content. At least this show is free. I am not charging you 1 penny. Well, and that's because you're the product, not the customer. 8888 Ask Leo, that's the phone number. 888-827-5536, toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. We can talk about any of those. There's lots more. I'll have some more news for you in a little bit. I'm talking on the radio. Okay, podcast listeners, it's free unless you pay $7 and then you don't have to hear ads. But that's fair. You either pay. What I don't like about the broadcasters is they're both charging you, or the cable companies and thereby you, and putting the ads in there. We do one or the other. I think that's fair. You could be the product, you could be the customer. You choose. Peacock does it okay, because Peacock, for the free tier, you see ads. Now, unfortunately, there's also a paid tier in which you see ads, just like Hulu. And then there's the premium tier, which is paid tier and you don't see ads. They're all greedy SOBs. But not me. No, you either hear ads or it's free. I was talking to the radio audience, John. The podcast audience knows exactly what's going on, I hope. It always bothered me about Hulu that you paid and you still saw the ads, and they were bad ads. I don't mind ads, but, ads is fine. Or pay. One or the other. Pick one. I haven't seen Steve's new show, no, but I've seen the trailers. It looks pretty funny. You don't know if you remember, about a year ago he was on the show, and he mentioned that he was working with Martin Short on something because of COVID called Only Murders in the Building, which I thought was hysterical. So I pay premium Hulu and premium Peacock because I want to be the customer. Oh, I agree, Joe, completely that delivery companies should not be allowed to own content. NBC Universal, Comcast, terrible idea. It started when GE bought NBC, and then Comcast bought them, and then blah, blah, blah. And then, it's all. Warner Media is owned by, HBO is owned by, HBO and Warner Media are owned by, it's so confusing. Is it Verizon? I can't even remember who owns anybody. Thank you, Jersey Fudge. Jersey Fudge said, I got a brick and I'm a club member. You're a good man, Jersey Fudge. You're a good man. Time to hit on Kim. I don't. It's not me. I'm just saying.
That was Laura.
In this day and age, I'm no fool. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to once again hasten to tell you it is not I who choose the music here. I would choose something like I would choose normal, everyday person who answers the phones who I'm not hitting on. Please, I beg of you. In this day and age, you got to be very careful. I'm good, right?
You're fine. Laura can harass me all she wants.
Yeah, I guess technically, I don't know.
Perfectly acceptable. I've never met her.
It's perfectly acceptable. You don't work for her.
I don't work for her. I've never met her.
You don't actually, technically, you don't even work for me.
Not anymore.
You work for some strange person in the sky. I don't even know who you work for.
No, I used to work for that company. This one has no clouds involved in their name.
No clouds.
Only hearts.
I heart radio.
Although my check says Premier Network, so I don't even know how to file my taxes.
A subsidiary of iHeartRadio. It's not even iHeartRadio anymore, is it? It's iHeartMedia. Because
Laura,
they realized.
Does your paycheck say Premier?
Hers says Premier as well. Premier, just people don't know, but this is a radio show you're hearing on your local radio station, but it is syndicated all over the country by a company called Premier, who employs both Professor Laura and Kim and me
and me.
You. I'm an employee as well. W-2 and all. 1099. No, I don't know.
Harassment classes and all.
Yes, I took those classes
every year.
I have to take them twice because I also own the podcast network, so I have to take them for TWiT and for Premiere. So
Really?
I am
There's a
doubly
class
gun
here
shy.
too, huh?
I can't say anything. I'm just not saying anything.
Sucks the fun out of it.
Kim is a wonderful human being
Oh, thank you.
who answers the phone for us and puts up with just all sorts of guff.
Sometimes.
Guff is in your job description. Premiere, by the way, is owned by iHeartMedia, which also happens to be not merely the biggest radio company.
Billboards.
Nope. They got rid of the billboard
Oh,
division.
no more billboards,
Yep.
huh?
That's the old company. The new one is radio and podcasting. They're very big in podcasting. And, of course, we have the iHeartMedia app and all of that. So iHeart's a good example of a company that has embraced streaming.
Pivoted towards the future.
I hope the boss is listening.
Suck up.
So they're so brilliant. Bob Pittman and company, just brilliant. My boss, your boss, Julie Talbot, wonderful, wonderful human being.
More people I've never met.
Who should I talk to first?
Let's go to Herb in Rancho Santa
Herb's
Fe.
our real boss. My real boss is the people.
Yes.
I'm a man of the people. Hi, Herb. Thank you, Kim.
Good morning, Leo.
Good morning. Oh, wow. Look at that. You hear that sound? You know what that means? I got to take a break because you are the product. Or wait a minute, are you the consumer? No, you are the product. So hang on, Herb. You're coming up. So is Scott Wilkinson, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I am so sorry, Herb. I'm messing around with Kim, and I used up all your time. What can I do? What can I do for you? I can talk to you now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're not on the radio. We're on the podcast, though, so it's okay.
Okay. Well, I'm contemplating buying a new MacBook Air
Yes.
laptop.
Yes.
I have an older one. It's a 2015, and it needs a battery.
You can pay a couple $100 and get Apple to replace the battery, but these newer ones, these 6-year later ones, are using this new Apple chip, and they're so much faster and nicer. And the battery life will just blow you away, like all day battery life.
That's one of my considerations. The other one is I have a 2012 iMac Fusion drive, and I love it. It's as fast as I've ever had, but they don't write. The program isn't upgradable.
You can't get the new Mac OS because it's 9 years old.
And my question is that going to happen to the laptop?
Yeah. Oh, you mean the old laptop?
Yeah.
Yeah, eventually. 2015 is right in the cutoff. I think in the next... You've already probably seen, if you upgraded to Catalina, not the current one, Big Sur, but if you upgraded to Catalina, you probably already saw that some of your older programs weren't going to run, the 32-bit programs. And then I suspect this Big Sur might be the last one that you could put on that one. I can't. Usually 10 years is about the normal amount of time. Oh. So maybe you'll get a few more years out of it. On the other hand, these new M1 computers are fantastic. I highly recommend them.
Okay, well, with that in mind, let me ask you a couple of questions. If I do buy the new one, I know I can just transfer all the data from my old one to the new one.
Right.
Would it be wise to anything that I can download as a new program to not transfer it, just delete it?
Yes. And in fact, they don't. That's, as I remember, that's how they do it. They will make a note of what you have and then install the latest version. More and more, Apple wants you to get your programs from the Mac Store on.
Right.
And if you do that, then that's exactly what happens. Anything in the Mac Store will automatically get the latest version.
Okay. Now, can I use the hard drive that I use as a backup for a Time Machine? Can I just take that and plug it into the new one and download the stuff?
You can restore from it. In fact, when you first boot up the new MacBook Air, it will say, would you like to restore from a Time Machine backup? You say yes, and it'll say plug it in, and that's probably the fastest way to set up the new computer.
Yeah, but then I'll be transferring some of the programs that I may not.
I think it's smart enough to update the programs it can. And then, you should probably go through the programs you use regularly and just, if they're manual updates, say, hey, is there an update? And it'll update for you.
Yeah, and now the downside is the stuff I will lose that I'm
well, you'll have it on that time machine in the hard drive. The real thing you want to save is settings, passwords, bookmarks, and documents. The programs you can reinstall as you. In fact, I recommend reinstalling as you need them, rather than just boom putting all the old programs on there, because you may find there's stuff you don't really need. There's one more thing I have to run because Scott's coming up, but there's one more thing I would mention, which is that it is likely there'll be new MacBook Airs soon. Apple is probably going to do 3 events this year: September, October, November. And it's rumored that they're going to announce new color MacBook Airs with an M1X chip. So if you can wait, it might be a good idea to wait. Either because you'll get a better deal on last year's MacBook Air, or because you can get the newest, latest, and greatest. I think the colors are going to be pretty. They'll be like the iMac colors. Thank you. Got to run. Hey, our show today brought to you by those great folks at AT&T. If there are friends and family members you haven't talked to in a while, don't worry. It's never too late to reconnect. To help, AT&T is offering deals on the latest smartphones. It's not complicated. Everyone deserves something new. So AT&T is giving new and existing customers their best deals on every smartphone, even the latest ones. Restrictions and exceptions may apply. Visit att.com for details. It's time for our home theater geek. Scott Wilkinson, contributor at techhive.com. He is a big screen TV expert, an audio buff. Did you hear the story about Qualcomm's new lossless AptX?
Yep, I sure did.
What do you think?
Well, I think it'll be great.
Next year, with new hardware.
Yeah, next year, yeah. It's part of the new Snapdragon chipset. And it's going to go, I just read a little bit about it, and it's going to transmit at 1 megabit per second. Now, total CD uncompressed quality is 1.4 megabits per second. So they're using a form of what's called lossless compression. They're just compressing it a little bit, but they're able to restore the signal bit for bit. Now, my question was, what happens if you want to listen to what's called high-res audio, that is 2496? It's still going to be compressed. You're still not going to be able to.
So the best you'll get, which unchanged, will be CD quality.
CD quality, correct.
Okay, interesting.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you want to listen to true high-res.
By the way, that's really good. But if you're listening, high-res, you should plug in some headphones, for crying out loud.
Exactly.
Maybe even get a nice digital to analog converter, like our wonderful iFi hip DAC.
The iFi hip DAC, yeah.
And then plug some wired headphones into the DAC. If you care that much, you're going to want to do that anyway.
Then you're going to want that. And that's going to give you the high-res quality. This Bluetooth is going to be better than it has been up till now. That's true.
Am I crazy? Because I've tried all the different Bluetooth stuff, including Apple's $550 AirPod Pro Max.
Right.
Sennheiser makes, I think, what many consider the best Bluetooth headphones, and I've tried those. Very expensive. And in all cases, Bluetooth to me does not sound, it's audibly not as good as wired. Am I right?
Yes. Generally speaking, that's true, although there are better ones and worse ones.
Yeah.
The Apple AirPod Max Pro hoop-de-doo, whatever, just simply doesn't sound very good. I
kind of agree with you, actually. I'm a little disappointed for that price.
I am too. I normally use a pair of wireless Bluetooth headphones, earbuds, from a company called One More, the numeral 1, M-O-R-E. And these are called, not an unfortunate name, but a strange name. They're called the Stylish.
Oh, dear.
But they sound great, for Bluetooth. And when I'm on my exercise bike or whatever, they sound fine. They're perfectly good enough.
Yeah.
But when I'm sitting there and I really want to hear the quality, and I'm in a quiet environment, I'll go for the wired, the Sennheiser IE300s or the Focals. I've got some Focals here under review, and
those are huge, like $2,000.
Yeah, or more.
The Stellias, and then there's a newer one that's even more expensive. But, but those are wired. You'd be nuts to get that kind of great hardware and then use a wireless technology like Bluetooth.
Yeah, exactly.
Now that may change with this new AptX.
AptX lossless.
Lossless. By the way, don't expect this on an iPhone. Apple doesn't even use AptX at this point.
Right. It's
they don't
Android.
They don't use Qualcomm chips,
Chips, so they don't have AptX, right. They use Apple lossless or Apple advanced codec, I think, AAC.
But they don't use lossless over Bluetooth.
Correct.
Right. They just use AAC over Bluetooth. So,
correct, which is still lossy. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of crunchy sounding.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Which if you're out on a walk in the environment,
or you're in your car, and there are lots of uses on the subway.
Well, you don't want to wear headphones in your car.
No, but
while you're driving.
People sometimes wear earbuds. I see it all the time in their car.
Yeah, that's not a good idea because earbuds should be blocking any outside sound.
Yeah.
Anyway, I wanted to quickly mention that You've heard me talk about CEDIA, right? The Consumer Electronics Design and Installation Association.
This is for high-end home theater installers.
Custom installation. And believe it or not, they're holding an in-person convention as we speak.
Oh, you're not there. I noticed.
In Indianapolis. No, I am not there. And in fact, over 130 companies pulled out.
Wow.
So it's a ghost town.
Oh, that's not good. I'm wondering what's going to happen in January with the Consumer Electronics Show. They also want to do a live show.
They say they're going to be live, and they're going to have vaccine monitoring, or they're
going to require that you have a vaccine,
proof of vaccine.
But
or whatever.
I think what'll happen is the same thing: is if the big companies say no, you know what, we're going to be prudent and not go. You're not going to have much of a CES.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And as it is, CEDIA, I know for a fact, is a ghost town.
Yeah.
I heard one guy actually went, and he said, I spent 3 hours and I was done. And so I left. I went home early.
Yeah. It's really sad. We'll talk next hour with Johnny Jett about travel as well. I mean, Delta is biting us hard. And while we all had hoped this year things would come back to normal, at least for some of these big trade shows, and it's funny because I see people on Instagram and other social sites post pictures of being at concerts and big parties and venues, and I look at that and my stomach just falls. I'm reluctant. Of course, I'm an older fella.
I'm not ready to do that
I'm not
yet.
ready to do it either.
No.
You young people have a good time. Let me know how that works out for you.
So some of these companies are doing virtual online briefings for what they would have shown at CEDIA, and I wrote about a couple of them on Tech Hive. I want to just quickly.
Well, that's the other thing. You can do that, and
you can do that.
You don't need to go to an event.
Well, yes and no. You don't, but in certain cases, for example, a company called Planar introduced a new residentially oriented line of LED video walls. We've talked about micro LED video walls, right? Samsung The Wall and Sony Crystal LED. You saw them.
Yes.
That's where seeing it is important, because you see that and you go, wow. Whereas on a online conference, they showed it to us. And there was a guy, 6'3" guy, standing next to this video wall, and you could see, oh yeah, it's really big. But on your computer screen, it just doesn't look that impressive. And the guy said from Planar, and we had to limit the brightness of this LED video wall to 20% of its maximum value, because otherwise it would totally blow out the image on the camera.
So come on, give me the bottom line. How much?
Well, They start at like 80 grand.
Oh, for how big?
109 inch.
Oh, that's not. I mean, it's
a lot.
That's less than I thought it would be, to be honest.
And that's only 1080p.
Oh.
If you want 4K and that's a regular LED. If you want a 4K in a micro LED, so 132 inch 4K, 136 inch 4K, you're going to start at about 260 grand.
In other words, I call it Shaq money. If you've got Shaquille O'Neal money, go for it.
It's for the 1% or the 0.1%.
0.1%, yeah.
But it does offer white glove installation and calibration.
It's sure better.
and lifetime warranty.
Yeah,
sure better for that kind of money.
Yeah, a guy better move in with me to keep it calibrated for that kind of money.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it is gorgeous. I mean, the micro LED reaches a peak luminance of like 16 or 1200 nits, which is like, wow.
So this is the point. Is right now they're hugely expensive,
astronomically,
as plasma was, But in a few years, I think
it's gonna.
We're all gonna have.
I agree.
Scott Wilkinson, thank you.
Zonk. So yeah, on Tech Hive, I've got the planar story, which is, again, that's for the 0.1%. There's also a couple of new Sony audio systems, much more reasonable.
Where did planar come from?
Oh, they've been around for decades.
Oh, okay.
They do the video walls that you see on CNN's news stage or NBC, or they do corporate lobbies, right? They do giant video walls in corporate applications.
So these aren't from nowhere.
No.
Yeah.
No. They're just now entering the residential market. What's called the custom installation or CI market. Yeah,
so-called residential.
Oh, yeah, Hey, if you can afford a $10 million house, you can afford a $250,000 LED wall.
Depends on how much is left in your piggy bank after the $10 million house.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But, they've been around a long time. They've just now entered the residential, or what we call the CI, custom installation.
Out of Sync asks a good question. Do these require a lot of power?
Yes, they do.
Oh.
They do require a lot of power. They didn't say whether it requires a 220 dedicated circuit. That's a good question. I'll have to ask about that. But one thing that is cool is that the micro LED version, they took the power supply and removed it, made it outboard, so that reduces the heat in the wall itself. So they're aware that the power problems are a concern.
Yeah.
All the processing and electronics are also outboard.
Yeah, they ought to, because then they can cool them separately.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the wall itself can be thinner.
Right.
It can just be the display on the wall.
So you could have a baseboard or something that holds the hot stuff.
Yeah. Exactly right.
Yeah.
So, hey, I would love to have one of these things.
Oh, well, I think we will. I told Lisa we're not replacing the Hisense short throw projector.
So you can get a micro LED.
Yet, until we get a micro LED, because we got 100 inches, but it's a projector. It's a little dim. But it's nice. It's fine. And we want the movie theater experience. We watch that in the living room, and then I have a 4K TV elsewhere. But I figure at some point, probably 5 years from now, we'll have a micro LED.
The price will come down. Just exactly how much is a question mark, because the manufacturing of these is very difficult. And I'm not quite sure how long it will take for it to be not so difficult because it's so precise.
Right.
You have to place these microscopic LEDs perfectly.
Right. Every
single one. And that's difficult to do. And it may remain difficult to do for a while. So, and that means expensive. No way around it, I'm afraid. Not for a little while, anyway. Let's see here. We might be coming up to the end here. Let's see. Beatmaster says, Linus Sebastian, I don't know who that is, wanted to buy the Wall from Sony, and it has many downfalls compared to the Sony Crystal LED. Both aren't ready for prime time. Huh. Well, that may be. Planar has been doing this for decades, like I said, so I think they're ready for prime time. Mike B is asking if I'm doing shofar blowing in person or virtually this year. Actually, for Rosh Hashanah on Tuesday, I'm going to be doing it live outdoors at a park.
Nice. Stay for the top?
You bet.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo the phone number. Kelvin's on the line from San Diego. Hi, Kelvin.
Hey, Leo. How are you doing, man?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing great. It's like the best day of my life, right?
That sounds good. Any day we're still here and enjoying the world, I guess, is that.
Exactly. Like, I love to say on my TikTok, it's good to see you, even though I can't see you because I can't see. And which is why I'm calling.
Do you do you have a TikTok?
Yeah, I'm called the Deaf Blind Potter because I was born deaf and then used hearing aids to be able to hear, and then lost all my clarity about a year ago. And so
wow. Wow.
And so I've been doing pottery for about 16 years, and then really started. My friend said, "Hey, I want to put your pottery on TikTok and see what happens." And then literally in 10 hours, I went viral after my first TikTok. And it just really just changed my life forever.
That's so cool.
And so it's been an experience. It's been a roller coaster, and it's like, okay, well, I guess I got to keep making pottery.
You got 5 million likes, 286,000 followers. You can watch him make pottery at Deaf Blind Potter on TikTok. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool. And beautiful pots, too.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
It's been a journey, and this like I said, I'm always trying to live beyond my challenge. And the current challenge I'm struggling right now is trying to get videos because I've been using a Pixel to record all of my videos.
Okay.
I do all my recording on my own, and then I don't know if have you ever heard of IRA, like the virtual assistants for the blind?
No, is it IRA?
AIRA.
AIRA. Okay.
AI. I mean, no, IO. That's what it is.
Yeah. AIRA.io. IRA.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so what they'll do, they'll remote into my phone.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. And so they can make sure I'm centered in the spot.
It's kind of like Be My Eyes or something like that, where it's a support system for people who have various limitations in using a phone. That's great. And they do it with the Pixel?
Yeah, they do it with the Pixel. So they remote in with like TeamViewer.
Neat.
And
wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I didn't know you could do that. That's so cool.
It is awesome, man.
That's amazing.
It is one of the coolest things ever. And so they're able to remote in. Actually, there is a TikTok video of me doing that.
Oh, cool.
How I record my own videos.
Oh, cool. So you don't have somebody shooting your video. You do it yourself.
Yeah.
That's really neat.
Yeah.
Good for you.
And
I'm looking at one. You got 3.8. Oh, that's funny. 3.8 million views on the defect.
yeah.
That's great. But it's your story, which is very profound and very powerful. That's really neat.
These are tough times, man.
For all of us, and I'm glad you're living beyond the label. That's really good. Yeah.
Thank you. So basically, what I'm trying to figure out is, like, since I've blown up, I am trying to save time and not have to do so much camera setup. It takes me about an hour to get the camera set up, get IRA remoted in, and then make sure the lighting's correct and everything. And I'm trying to find a way where IRA could just remote into my computer, and then they can see all the cameras in the studio.
Oh.
And then it has like maybe 8 different shots, and then they could use like OBS or another switcher or something like that, and try to piece all that together in a sitting for like a I mean, it takes me like 20 minutes to make a piece.
You totally could do that, but probably not with your smartphone.
Yeah, and that's what I was kind of figuring. And so, like, I was looking at like maybe a $2,000, $3,000 budget.
You could easily do this for that. I would look at blackmagicdesign.com. They have something called an ATEM Mini, which I think can be remotely controlled. It's a camera switcher. And you probably would just have a friend say, can you do this for me? It will stream, by the way. If you get the ATEM Mini Pro, it will stream. It's under $1,000. You can use a variety of devices as cameras. It takes HDMI in. In fact, you might even be able to use the Pixel with it. I think you probably can put an HDMI out on it.
Well, the biggest problem with the Pixel, it just keeps getting overheated.
Yeah. That's the problem with a lot of, if you're going to shoot for a video for a long time, a lot of cameras have that problem. You really need kind of a video camera to do that. Yeah.
So it's the Blackmagic Mini.
It's called the ATEM series. These are switchers. Okay. Let me just see.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. You should probably check out. This is what I would do. There are some experts on this who are streaming Monday through Sunday, 7 days a week, pretty much 24 hours a day, talking about solving things like this. And if you went on there and said, I have this problem, you'd get some real experts helping you with this stuff. They're ATEM experts, but they also know about a lot of other things. Yeah, you can remote control your ATEM over the internet. So that's good. So somebody could, over the internet, control it with the software on their end, the hardware on your end, and you could even have multiple cameras and switch back and forth. There's also audio going into it. But I want to mention this office hours thing. My friend Alex Lindsay started this, and it's kind of taken off. If you want to know more, officehours.global, and it's a bunch of audio and video production experts, media professionals. And some of these guys are big shot Hollywood guys. I mean, some of them are really big. But they sit there all day fielding questions. That's why it's called office hours. And it started just a few hours a day, and that's gotten to where it's pretty much always on. But you can find out more about it, officehours.global. They use Zoom, and then they stream on YouTube. But if you really wanted to know more than I can give you, they could help you set this whole thing up. But I think that they would probably agree that the ATEM is a good way to go. It's basically OBS Studio in hardware. And it allows remote access. It allows multi-cameras. It has transitions and stuff. If you wanted to, probably less desirable for TikTok, although people do stream live on TikTok. But I think for a live YouTube channel, it would be great.
Yep. Well, and I'm thinking about doing a live Twitch.
There you go. It's also great for Twitch. And I've used Twitch Studio and OBS Studio for Twitch. They're very easy to use, but I'm sighted. So that I don't know what their accessibility, how easily I always cautious to tell people I can talk about accessibility. I'm very sensitive to the issues, but because I'm not sightless, I can't give you really a good take on it. You need to talk to somebody else. Yeah. I could put on a blindfold, but that's not going to give you the same experience. So I think I would take a look at what Blackmagic's doing with their ATEM series. They're fairly inexpensive. I bought the ATEM Mini. It was a few $100, and it's really a little switcher. It's really amazing. You can control it remotely. I think it would do everything you want it to do.
Okay, then I'll do that. Do you have any low cost 4K video recorders that could do the job too?
Yeah, honestly, a lot of point and shoot cameras now. Sony makes a vlogging camera that's 4K, just a few $100. So there are a number of companies now, because this is you influencers have changed the market. You know that, right? Thanks to people like you, they're making basically cameras for TikTok. That's the thing. Hey, good luck on your TikTok. This is really cool. Good luck on your TikTok. I think this is just a great idea, and I hope you continue to pursue it. Stay in touch. Let us know what you're up to. Deaf Blind Potter on TikTok, and we'll put a link in the show notes. Okay, Scotty, It's all yours, my friend.
Thank you very much. Right. So thanks everybody for hipping me to Linus Sebastian. I don't follow influencers. I don't really watch YouTube very much. So I didn't know about this guy, but wow, he's pretty impressive. Mike B mentioned that, where was it here? Linus has a YouTube competitor called Floatplane. And I said, wait a second, I thought he owned Floatplane, and he does. So how is that a competitor? He's a competitor to himself? Howard says, when I plug my Sennheiser IE300 headphones, thank you for the recommendation, into my iPhone 10 using a 2-inch adapter cable from Apple, am I losing quality? Would a hip DAC be better? The answer is yes, a hip DAC would be better. And the reason is that the DAC and amp inside of an iPhone isn't as good as the hip DAC. So how much better? That's something of a subjective call. I must admit, I have not used I have an iPhone X10 as well, and I haven't used its internal DAC and amp in quite some time. So I haven't done any comparisons recently. I'm sure it's better. I have no doubt about that at all. Mike B, don't tell Scott Wilkinson that he's on YouTube right now. I know I'm on YouTube right now. Oh, Floatplane is a competitor to YouTube. Oh, I see. Oh, well, who's going to compete with YouTube? I mean, how is that even possible? I mean, sure, it's possible, but YouTube is so gigantic that I can't imagine anybody making a dent in YouTube. Kay Woods, Lashana Tova to you as well. We got Rosh Hashanah coming up on, I guess, Monday night is when it begins. I will be actually outdoors at a park, physically distanced and masked, except when I'm blowing the shofar on Tuesday. So that will be quite something to actually be out and about and with people, presumably all very well distanced. Mike B says Floatplane is actually doing pretty well. Well, good. Glad to hear it. I can't imagine it's more than a tiny fraction of how YouTube is doing, but more power to them. No doubt about it. MJR Wingnut. Do you remember Creative Labs sound cards? Yes, I do. Do they still make sound cards? I don't think so, but I'm not sure. Yeah, they always had better sound quality than integrated sound cards. I agree with you on that. But I haven't looked at them in a long time. I have no idea. Let's see, Alert Loha. What's the best TV to buy in the $500 range? I would look at TCL and Vizio. And you don't say what size you want. Or Hisense would be another one to look at. But those are the three budget brands that I generally recommend. I do not recommend like Best Buy's house brand, Insignia or Scepter. I would go with a more known brand. Now, an interesting story that Leo and I didn't talk about today, but we could have on the show, is that Amazon, there's a rumor now that Amazon will be releasing a television of its own, perhaps made by TCL. We don't know. Probably in the 55 to 75 inch range, probably several sizes, maybe 55, 65, and 75. Probably very inexpensive, though no pricing has been announced. And these are kind of rumors at this point, but pretty strong rumors. So that might be another possibility. At least one article I read said something about, it's probably going to carry the Amazon Basics brand. So I don't know. Mike B says Creative Labs still makes sound cards. Cool. I'm much less of a Windows guy than a PC and than a Mac guy, so I don't know from sound cards. Macs are all sealed up. Faux pas. What do you look for when buying a TV these days? HDR, 8K? I don't look for 8K. I mean, it exists, but it's pretty expensive. There's not much content, and it's expensive. So I do look for HDR. That's critical. That's really important. I would love. I love watching HDR. That's really an important thing to have. But 8K, no. 4K is probably what you're going to get. I mean, that's now the standard, the default. 1080p is like at the very bottom of the barrel now. The very entry-level products and small, depending on the size you want, but it's probably going to end up being 4K, which is fine. And HDR, critically important. Definitely look for that. Let's see. Jim Allen, will you review the first consumer dual cell TV by TCL, UN9DG, now that it's available in the US for ordering? I'm probably not going to review it. And I know that Hisense already has a dual cell.
What's dual cell?
It's an LCD TV with 2 layers of LCD shutters. Which gives you greater contrast. One of them is the full color, display. The other one is behind it, is only black and white, and it's basically a super local dimming. So the second LCD plane or panel brightens or darkens for a given, well, not a given pixel, typically like 4 pixels. It's a little bit less resolution. But it's super full array local dimming is what it is. Hisense has one. I guess TCL's coming out with one. So it's not the first one, but it is maybe the first. It's certainly the first one from TCL. So actually next week, well, actually 2 weeks from now, we will have the results from the flat panel shootout at Value Electronics. And so I will be talking about that. I'll be writing about it, certainly. It's happening on 13th and 14th.
This time? Or?
I'm not going. No. I decided I was not going to get on a plane for 5 hours.
Yeah.
And be there. But I am keeping close track of it, so I'll be able to talk about it.
Thank you, Scott.
My pleasure.
Have a great week.
Thanks, you too. Lashana Tova.
Lashana Tova. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smartwatches, streaming, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. What a world. Look how much things have changed. Even in the last 10 years. The rise of these social streaming systems like YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. I mean, even Instagram's in the game now, and Twitter too. They're all doing streaming video. And so many people are taking to it and doing great with it. I think it's very, very interesting. Really, really interesting. 8880, I don't have much more to say than that. But it's clearly a huge influence on our culture and society. And some of it good, some of it bad. On balance, I think it's great if somebody like our last caller, the Deafblind Potter, if he can use this to create and do some exciting things, interesting things, I think that's fantastic. I think there was a lot of negativity about TikTok last year, and even a threat that China would need to sell it, or that Chinese owners would need to sell to an American owner, at least for the American TikTok. And that just kind of all evaporated, went up in smoke. And yeah, I understand. In fact, the Chinese Communist Party has partial ownership of TikTok. They've taken ownership. It wasn't offered. They took it. They have a seat on the board of TikTok, as they do on many companies that operate inside of China. So that means they have some influence on it, and I suppose it could be used. I guess one concern was because it's on a lot of smartphones, it could be used to spy on people. I'm not too worried about that. What are they going to find out? Maybe another concern that might be more subtle and more legit is that it could be used, the algorithm that chooses what videos you see on TikTok. Because most people, TikTok's not like Twitter, where you pick people and that's all you see. You can do that. You could follow people, but most people... There's two tabs. Do the other tab, the For You page it's called, where it's just videos chosen for you by the algorithm, by the technology. And usually those are popular videos. That's how somebody like Deafblind Potter suddenly gets a bunch of views on a particular video. Is that one gets put up on the For You page. A lot of people see it. The more people see it, the more it's recommended. And it's kind of a vicious circle where it just builds up. And it's called going viral. We're very aware of going viral, right? TikTok is kind of the perfect example of how things can go viral. And I suppose there's some threat that the Chinese government could say, all right, in fact, they've already done it, it seems to be in some cases. You certainly, if you post a TikTok urging freedom for Hong Kong or condemning the Chinese Communist Party or President Xi, that video will not only not make it the For You page, it'll probably disappear. And there were accusations in the past that TikTok was discriminating against overweight people, people of color, all sorts of issues. I think mostly which have been fixed. As soon as people become aware of them, TikTok goes, "Oh, we didn't mean to do that." Just like Facebook. "Oh, we didn't mean to do that." Facebook's getting a lot of heat lately. And by the way, watch what these companies do, because they always, and Facebook's done this, they always blame the artificial intelligence. Oh, it wasn't humans. It wasn't us. We're not biased. TikTok labeled a video with a lot of black people in it as featuring primates. And Facebook did this, I'm sorry. Facebook immediately said, oh, it wasn't us, it was the AI. Blame the technology. Well, I got to tell you, the AIs are programmed by people. I hate to say it. We are not yet to the stage where the AI is completely autonomously doing whatever it wants. So companies have got to stop, passing off the blame. But I have to say, I think I'm a little prejudiced because my son is on TikTok. He's a chef, so he's doing cooking videos, and they're great. And they're getting a lot of attention. He's very happy. And I think he might even be able to make a living. That's what's interesting about this. You get to a point where you have enough views, enough followers that you can actually make money. Not get rich necessarily unless you have a huge following, but he's got friends who are making $8,000 or $9,000 a month, more than enough to live on with their cooking videos. So he hopes to do that. And I think that's pretty cool. So it's a mixed bag. Could the Chinese government use it to propagandize the West? I guess. Maybe not. Is it a great platform for creators of all kinds to get a chance to put their work out there? Absolutely. Just like YouTube. And YouTube has its problems, as does Facebook. On balance, though, I have to say, I think these systems are pretty exciting. They certainly have changed the world, haven't they? I guess that's what I started saying, and I should have stopped at that. It's complicated. By the way, where does that come from? Facebook, right? That was one of the early relationship statuses. In a relationship, not in a relationship, it's complicated. Ron's on the line from Los Angeles. Hi, Ron. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Leo.
Hey, Ron.
Okay, here's my situation. I've got a DSL line from my computer, and they're telling me that they're canceling my service through connecting through AT&T as of November.
Oh.
And I have a landline as well. I'm a senior, so I'm a little bit, antiquated here. But I'm looking for what can I do as far as an internet service and possibly connecting to a landline. What they're offering me is, I guess, a service that's now more expensive, and they have an add-on website connection to go with it.
Who provided the internet service? Was it AT&T or was it a third party?
Well, it's through DSL Extreme.
Okay. So this is very complicated. So the FCC, at the behest really of the internet cable providers and the phone companies, the big money dudes, the FCC has granted, in effect, duopolies in most of America. I think the best most people, about 86% of people in America can get is either internet from a cable company or the phone company. Though the FCC bowed to pressure from the cable companies, the cable company owns their plant and no one else can use it. But they did tell the phone companies, because the phone companies built this out, a century ago. They said, look, you've got to open up your lines to third parties. And that's why you can have AT&T copper, AT&T phone lines, but DSL Extreme can sell internet service on top of it. They're using the AT&T lines. Right. But it's always been a very tetchy relationship, because AT&T also sells internet access. So they see DSL Extreme as a competitor, and they don't want to let them in the switching room, but they have to. The FCC makes them. But the FCC doesn't make them be nice about it. And so I'm not sure what's going on with DSL Extreme and AT&T in your neighborhood. It could be DSL Extreme has just decided to throw in the towel. It could be AT&T is giving them such a hard time that it's not worth it. Who knows? It's complicated. I bet you AT&T will give you service over the phone lines, right? You can get internet from them, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So if DSL Extreme is signing off, AT&T won, basically. And the problem is, without competition, you're going to pay whatever they tell you to pay. The competition comes from the cable company, which is going to be more expensive, but you could also go to your cable company. The good news is, in America, things are starting to shift. Elon Musk's SpaceX has started to launch satellites. There's 1,700 of them to provide internet service to all over the world. That's called Starlink. It's not cheap, but at least whenever we see this happen, whatever market somebody else comes into the market, Google with their fiber, for instance, prices go down, competition goes up, and you get more choices. So it's really going to come down to where you live and what choices you have. You probably, like most people, can either do it through the phone or the cable, at least for now.
No.
I would check here's what I would do. There's a website called DSL Reports at dslreports.com. You can enter in your zip code. It will tell you all your choices in that area.
I have done that.
Okay.
Yeah, and basically what they're telling me initially is that I can get the initial service for about $58 plus an extra $10 for the internet phone line.
That's expensive. Wow.
Yeah.
Cable would be probably the same price and faster. Who's your cable company?
I don't have a cable company.
Okay. Do you know if there's cable coming to the house?
I think there might be.
Yeah, most houses in the metros are wired. So you can get internet-only service from whoever owns that wire. It might be Frontier, it might be Spectrum, it might be Comcast. I don't know who owns that wire. So you'd have to figure that out. You can also look, and this is an up-and-coming thing, besides Starlink, which is satellite, and there are other satellite choices which I don't recommend, like Wild Blue Exceed. HughesNet offers it, but those are expensive and poor quality. You also could look and see if T-Mobile is offering residential in your area. More of the cellular carriers are starting to look at offering residential, especially since you're in a metro. You probably have very high-speed LTE. I don't know if you've looked at your phone, but I bet you your phone is faster than your DSL. And so you may be able to you can go to T-Mobile and see if they offer residential internet at your address. It's not at every address. That might be one choice. You could call Verizon and see if they offer it as well.
Now, I don't have a smartphone.
You don't need one.
Okay.
It's the same. It's kind of like your DSL, except instead of coming in over the phone line, it's coming over to through the cell tower. So they'll give you a box, which basically becomes a Wi-Fi access point in your house. So that's the trick, is to figure out what other options there are. That's a lot of money AT&T's charging you.
Yeah. Now DSL has an interesting startup. It's like I said. Well, the AT&T is it's going to be like $98.
That's crazy.
The internet and the telephone line.
That's terrible, and it's not very good quality. I got to tell you, it's not super fast. But you say you don't use it a lot, so that might be okay. I would look for something lower cost. So DSL Extreme is not going out of business. They're just stopping that particular level of service that you have.
Correct.
I see.
Correct.
Yeah. Because they have to give some of that to AT&T. Who knows what the setup is?
Apparently, AT&T still has to install the modem and
that's right
too.
Yeah, that's right. Because they own the wire.
Yeah.
So probably AT&T's putting the screws to DSL Extreme and saying, we're going to charge this much, so you better too, because we don't want competition. Mm-hmm. And the rules of the FCC are arcane enough that obviously they're getting away with it.
So you think my best options are to try to find out if there's a cable connection through here?
Look for cable, which there probably is. You'll see on the walls there'll be coax coming out of the walls. Do you own the place or is it a rental?
No, it's an apartment building, so I'm sure.
That's often different. Usually apartment buildings do a deal with a internet provider to offer internet in the apartment building. You might check to see if they have apartment-wide internet.
Yeah, it's a house, but it's divided into.
Okay, then maybe not. It's usually the big apartment buildings that do that.
But I'm sure there are other.
The house has to have cable wired to it, almost certainly.
Yeah.
In which case, you could get just internet. It'd be about $60-$70 a month. It won't be much less expensive, but it'll be much faster. It'll be much better quality.
And if I wanted to connect a phone line to the internet,
you can do that as well. Yeah.
Through the same company.
Yep.
Okay.
So the real trick is to figure out what the options are, and it's very complicated. As I said, DSL Reports usually is the best place to go. They'll show you the options. They'll have reviews for them, and then I would call around and try to get the best price. Boy, that's disappointing. Yeah, DSL Extreme for a long time was a sponsor, and they had a very inexpensive, I think $20 a month internet. Obviously, they're getting the screws put to them, and they can't keep doing it, I guess. They got acquired by another company. They're all big companies now, unfortunately. The Tech Guy Podcast brought to you this week by Simply Safe. Simply Safe protects not only our house, everybody I know. I've installed Simply Safe for them, or I've told them about it. Simply Safe is just a brilliant idea. The founders, Chad and Eleanor Lawrence, designed their first security system in their kitchen, and they did it because their friends had just had their home broken into, and they looked at what was out there, and it was very expensive, required an installer. They just were a lot of reasons that it wasn't right for them. They wanted a security system that was easy to set up but would still make them feel safe. That was 15 years ago. Today, Simply Safe is the fastest growing, I think the biggest security system in the country. Why? Because it's easy to use. You do the installer, no installer traipsing through your home. You just peel and stick, you put them where you want them. You choose what devices, what protection you have. They have a whole range of sensors, everything from motion detection, glass break, windows and doors opening. They even have water sensors you could put under your water heater. I think that's a really good idea. Having had a leak myself, I know that is a really lifesaver to know that that's happened. They even have cameras. And to top it off, they have the best professional monitoring for a lot less money, about a third what you'd pay the other guys, with no long-term contract. Simply Safe's highly trained security experts are ready whenever you need them, whether it's a fire, a burglary, a medical emergency. They'll even help you set the system up. There's always someone who has your back to keep you safe and make sure you feel safe. Go to simplysafe.com/twit. It shouldn't take you more than a couple of minutes to customize a system on the website. And because you're listening to this show, you can save 20% on your system and get your first month free when you sign up for their interactive monitoring service. Just visit simplysafe.com/twit. simplysafe.com/twit to customize your system, start protecting your home and family. Simply Safe. It's designed right just for you. It's really a perfect system. simplysafe.com/twit. simplysafe.com/twit. Thank you so much for supporting the Tech Guy Show, and thank you for supporting the podcast by going to that address so they know you saw it here. simplysafe.com/twit. Now back to the show. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Perry on the line from Aurora, Colorado. Hello, Perry.
Hello, Leo.
How are you? Welcome.
I'm doing good. Yeah, but I'm so bummed out. Without my Locast, I'm not going to be able to spend my Sunday afternoons with the Three Stooges.
You're cutting in and out a little bit on the phone. I don't know if you're on a cordless or if you're on a cell phone, but you're talking about this Locast thing. A judge ruled that Locast is not operating appropriately as a nonprofit. Locasts didn't have to shut down, but they decided to. And this was a great free way, or at least low-cost way, to get local channels. You probably were getting Denver channels on it, right?
Yes. I was.
Yeah. I don't know of a solution, a workaround, except you could put up an antenna. That's not a solution for me. I can't get any of the stations from San Francisco, but I was able to get them on Locast. Or you can get, I think there's, Sling has a locals level that's fairly inexpensive. There are a couple of ways to do it over the internet, but none of them are free. Did you pay the quote donation of $5 a month?
No, maybe that's why I went under.
Yeah, you just went free, and of course it's a little annoying because they keep interrupting with, "Hey, give us some money," but it was a good deal. It was free and they had to do that because they were getting around the rules by being nonprofit. As long as they didn't make money on it, it was legal for them to retransmit the local stations. And this is what happened was the judge said, well, but you're not making money on it because you're taking the money that you make and you're investing in new markets. So they're canceling subscriptions. I don't know if they're going to stay down or they're hoping that so many people will complain about this. There are certainly petitions and so forth that they'll be able to come back. I don't know.
Nothing like it, I guess.
There's really nothing like it. There was also put out of business by the courts. Aereo, same thing. Because you got to remember the local channels hate this because you're costing them money, and so. But I think there's a strong argument for why it's a good thing to have too. I mean, it's essentially broadcast television for people who don't have an antenna or are far enough away from the city that it doesn't work well for them. Aurora's, far enough from Denver that you couldn't get them unless you maybe put an antenna on a 60-foot tower or something like that. I can't get any of the locals in my neck of the woods. So I just... it's just a dark day. A big victory for the local television stations, but a dark day for those of us who thought Locast was a great way to get TV and to cut the cable, cut the cord. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. There was I'm looking for there was a Reddit thread. Talking about alternatives. Let me see if I can find it. It was in reddit.com/r/cord cutters. And people were talking about what you could do and going back and forth. And, of course, the timing is not completely coincidental because the football season starts this week, right? So it is far from coincidental. People were watching, you were watching your Broncos on your Locast. So Sling, I think, is the best alternative. It's owned by Dish. It's a complicated issue, unfortunately. Johnny Jet.
Hey, Leo, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
How's my sound?
Sounds good. Why?
Good, because I did not change the settings from last week.
Okay, well, we'll see. We'll see. What's up? What's up in your world? My trainer just came back from Hawaii. I'm going to have to ask him on Monday how it was.
Yeah.
I guess it's probably not the time to go to Hawaii if you can.
It's not the good time to go. I just read a story this morning saying that, especially on Oahu, the hospitals are, almost all hospitals on Oahu now are at maximum capacity. But, people are traveling. Actually, we could talk about it in the air, but yesterday's TSA numbers are almost the same as 2019's for the same day.
Isn't that amazing? I think people are just
70,000 less.
done.
Not
They're
even
fed up.
70,000. I think 69,000
They're
less.
just done. They can't take it enough.
And I've been debating if I should go see my dad or not.
I'm debating whether we should go to Mexico. I think we're gonna. That's end of October. Lisa's fear is that we'll get stuck in Mexico. We'll test positive and they won't be able to leave.
You can quarantine. I'm sure the resort you're staying at is going to pay for it, and just bring your.
No, that's the problem. We're not staying. This is the problem. We don't have insurance. We're not staying at a resort. This is our friend Mike Elgin's thing that he does, Gastro Nomad, and so I don't know what.
Well, you can get insurance. So I just actually wrote a sponsored post for Allianz Travel Insurance this past week because they just came out with a new COVID.
Oh, good. So they can
plan.
cover COVID.
And I think, and the others are too. You just need to make sure you read all the fine print, which no one wants to do. I don't want to do it.
Right.
But it covers a lot, except if you're afraid or even if there's a warning. That's not covered.
I think we're just going to go. We're going to take our chances. We're not going to get sick or die.
I would be traveling right now if I didn't have two little unvaccinated kids.
That's right. I'll stay away from kids and the unvaccinated, which I stay away from anyway.
And
I have to get a
I'm most likely
going to
go next week.
Unvaccinated, stay away.
Yeah. But we can talk about, I've been doing a lot of local news here in LA.
Oh, yeah?
And, they all want to talk about Hawaii travel, and they want to talk about the EU being, which I warned last week. I said, the rumor has it the EU is going to take the U.S. off the safe travel list.
Yeah. No, they did.
They did. I know, on Monday.
Yeah, you told us. You said. And it came true. You're an oracle. A Delphic oracle. Yeah, I asked my doctor about getting a booster. He said, you got to wait 8 months after you first get it.
Exactly.
So I can't get it till
my
December.
dad one the other day.
He's been everywhere, man. He's our traveling guru. Johnny Jet joins us every week. His website, johnnyjet.com. His newsletters there are free, but very, very good. You can also follow him on Twitter and Instagram. He's got a Johnny Jet channel on YouTube, too. Hello, John.
Hello, Leo. Good news, my dad is almost completely out of the woods. He's still in rehab, but he is feeling great. He was singing on the phone to me yesterday.
Vaccine saved his life.
That's what the doctors say, and
Awesome.
I believe it because I thought it was over when I got on the air 3 weeks ago.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
So relieved. Hallelujah.
Me too. So, but now my big, I'm debating if I should go visit him.
No,
I just don't
you
want to
should
bring
stay
anything
home.
back.
Yeah, you don't want to bring anything to him either. Just your kids aren't vaccinated because they're under 12, and I think
5.
we should just stay home. I know people get mad at us for saying that. Like, well, you're the travel guy. You should encourage people to travel.
Well, I never put money in front of health, and I never will. I took a huge hit, and I'm still taking a hit. But listen, it's the right thing to do, especially if you have like my circumstances, or depending on where you're going. Like, this is not the time to be going to Hawaii. You could go to other places.
My friend just got back from Hawaii. I can't wait to ask him what it was like. He went to Oahu. that's the funny thing. You go. We were there in July, as you know, and people were very happy to see some tourists, some income. But that was before it started to go south again. So I don't know what it's like right now.
And the reason, and the hospitals are full in Hawaii. That's the reason why
Governor
they're telling
Ige
people
said,
not
"Don't
to
come, stay home."
And the Hawaii Tourism Board wanted people to know it's not because of tourists. Most of the hospitals are full of locals because they had huge parties and they're trying to stop that.
There was a high anti-vax rate in Hawaii, unfortunately.
No, Hawaii is one of the most vaccinated places, though.
Oh, but
yes.
I was told that people living on the West Coast didn't like to get vaccinated.
I don't know about that, but I know Hawaii is one of the most vaccinated
parties. Well, that's good. States. And they're still having problems.
Yes, they are. I mean, fortunately, I think like my dad, the vaccine is saving people, but some people are still ending up in the hospital. So you just got to be careful. I just saw Oscar De La Hoya, the boxer. He was vaccinated and he's in the hospital. So who knows what he was doing or what vaccine he got, but you still got to take it careful. Yeah. Like, we're not doing indoor events or dining. We're doing outdoor.
It's hard to know what to do. Yeah. It's you want to balance prudence with still having a life. If you're vaccinated, the chance of serious illness or death, like with your dad. He's in his 90s, and he survived it.
Yep. So I feel good about that. I've been telling people that if you are going to fly, just use common sense. This is the time to splurge for first class, so less people are around you. The fares have just dropped, by the way, in the last week or so.
Yeah, I bet.
New York, 500 round trip it used to be. Now you can go for under 200. You can go to Hawaii for 248 round trip from LA and San Francisco. Fares are just dropping. So that's the good news. Also, by the way, Amtrak has a 50% off right now. So if you want to take the train, that deal is through September 8th. But the big news, which I've been doing a lot of local TV news here about, is the EU has taken the U.S. off of the safe travel list.
You called it last week. You said it would probably happen Monday, and it did.
So the headlines are kind of scary, but it was just a recommendation by the EU. The EU is 27 nations out of the 44 countries in Europe. So, but they do cover all the ones that most Americans go to, with the exception of England or the UK. But France, Germany, Greece, Iceland, Italy, that's all covered. But each individual country can decide their own rules. And they haven't all come out yet. I just created a post. I just put it in the chat room and tweeted it. Some of them have. So, for example, Bulgaria, you can't go if you're vaccinated or not. Norway, I don't believe you can go. Netherlands, you can't go. Italy, if you're not vaccinated, you have to quarantine for 5 days, which is new. Spain, you're welcome to go. Each rule, it's all changing. So no matter which country you're going to go to, you really got to triple check, and even the same day you're leaving, because rules are changing, and you just got to have to know what you're dealing with. Make sure you get the test. Most countries are going to require you to be vaccinated and to get a COVID negative, present a COVID negative test right before entering. So, but read all the rules are all different. Some people were saying that, the EU was because it was political. I think part of it might have been because the U.S. never opened it up to Europeans to come here. But there is rumors saying that the White House is going to open it up to fully vaccinated Europeans. And I think one of the problems why is because the AstraZeneca vaccine, a lot of the Europeans have that, and I don't think that's been approved.
I would hope none of this is motivated by, spite or anything. It's just, let's do the thing that's right for public health. What are the rules coming back into the U.S., even if you could go somewhere?
They're the same. They've been the same since January 31st. So it doesn't matter if you've been vaccinated or not. Doesn't matter if you're an American or not. You still need to present a negative COVID test within 3 days of your return. If you are negative, if you are positive, you won't board the plane. They won't let you on.
Wow.
And you'll have to quarantine, 10 to 14 days wherever you are. A lot of resorts in Mexico are paying for it. You can't leave the room, but at least you don't get stuck with a huge bill like some people are.
So, do they have rules about which tests? Can you do the fast tests, or do you have to do a PCR test?
To come back into the U.S., you don't need a PCR.
You can
do the antigen.
The antigen test.
But to most countries that you're going to, including Canada, you need to have a PCR, which is much more expensive.
Where can we go to find this information out before we travel? Does the CDC have a page or?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
The State Department, you always want to look at the local tourism department if you're going internationally.
We were
up to date.
refreshing the page to Hawaii almost daily to see what the rules were before we left.
And you have to follow them. I mean, I talked about it.
We were sitting behind somebody who was turned away.
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't.
One
and
person went to the Mayo Clinic and they got turned away because their test from the Mayo Clinic wasn't good enough because it wasn't an approved partner of theirs.
Right.
So just don't take anything for granted. My wife did write a post this week about protecting your CDC card. There are some apps which I can mention next week, but these companies are coming up with some clever wallets. One is a passport holder on one side, the other side is for your vaccine card, which is brilliant. And these companies, and I put it on my newsletter, and tons of people bought them. I mean, they're really. People want to make sure that their card is protected. You need to bring it with you. I had questions from people saying, can I just bring a copy? You need to bring the original, but make sure you take a digital copy and also a paper copy. Leave it at home. Kind of like the old days you do with your passport.
Yeah.
But there's been a ton of news this week. Philippine Airlines just filed for bankruptcy, Chapter 11.
Oh my.
Which is their flag carrier. Hurricane Larry is now developing in the Caribbean, heading towards the northeast. So I was supposed to be in New York last week, and man, I'm so glad I didn't go because I would have got stuck.
Holy cow! I feel
in
so
those floods.
Bad for all of our friends in the Northeast. What a mess!
Big time.
It's bad enough in Louisiana, and then everybody thought, oh well, it'll be all right. By the time it reaches New York, oh my, the images of flooded subways, and oh my goodness.
But let's end on some good news. United Airlines is extending the expiration date for flight credits through 2022. And I hope the others follow because I have some credits that I need to use. And that's one reason why I was thinking about going to Connecticut next week because I have some money that I have to spend. Otherwise, it's going to go to waste. But I'm hoping that the others will follow.
Johnny Jet. You keep up on all this stuff at johnnyjet.com. Subscribe to his newsletters, and he'll push you out the information as it becomes available. Don't forget to follow him on Twitter, too. He's very, very informative on Twitter. He's got some good Twitter lists, too. Thank you, Johnny.
Thank you.
Safe staying at home. I'm so glad about your dad. That's great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Ay. Well,
it's not all bad. It's not all bad.
It's not all bad?
No. I mean, they say this wave is not going to be as bad as last year because people are vaccinated. So, last year I was scared. This year, I'm not because I'm vaccinated. I'm just scared for my kids.
Yeah. Well, what's the status there? Are they going to, they're so young.
It's not going to happen until next year. And I've definitely got to make sure there's, they're safe and things like that. But this wave is not the same as the first wave. So kids are getting sick this time around. They weren't in the spring.
Right.
So, but what are you going to do?
At least they don't have to go to school yet.
Well, Jack is supposed to be in
pre-K?
Pre-kindergarten.
Oh. Gosh, you grow up fast.
They do.
Yeah.
So
I always get depressed during your segment.
I don't want that. I want it to be the opposite, and it was always the opposite.
No,
before.
I know it was. It was. Always,
I'm just trying to keep it real and let people know that.
No, we have to. It's depressing because the times are depressing. This is the times we live in. That's all. What
people are saying that it might get rough in the next few weeks, and it's going to go in waves. So you got to go to places where they're not having a wave.
Right.
And I can talk about this next week. There's a new trend called trip stacking, where you book multiple trips, and then you decide which
pick
one
the
you
one
go.
that's safest.
Well, you book one that's aggressive, and then you book a backup that is an alternate and safe.
That's
you can do.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
that's a good idea. Trip stacking. Okay. Thank you, JJ. Have a good week.
You too. Take care.
Talk next week.
Bye bye.
Oh, man. Oh, okay. I'll get it ready. Yeah. It's still depressing. Yeah. Whew. Hawaii hospitals run out of ICU beds, scramble to bring in extra oxygen. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Phone number 888-827-5536. Website techguylabs.com. Julian, Los Angeles. Hey, Julian.
Hey, Leo. How's it going?
I'm doing well. How are you these days?
I'm doing well, all things considered. I've been traveling. Look, I've been to Florida 3 times in all this craziness.
Holy cow. How come?
My parents live there. And,
your parents. Yeah. What's up?
So I got some info for a caller you had a few calls ago who was losing his DSL Extreme service.
Yes.
And was wanting an affordable option. And if he's with AT&T, then this will be good for him.
Okay.
AT&T, along with several other providers like Comcast and Spectrum that I know of offhand, and maybe others do too, offer a discounted internet service for people on low incomes.
Nice.
For AT&T,
it's kind of like their Lifeline service for cell phone and phones.
Basically.
Yeah.
So for $10 a month, he could probably get the same as what he had, if not even better speed through AT&T if he goes to att.com/access. I think there's 4 different ways that you can qualify for the program, so he's bound to fit into one of those. I think he mentioned he was blind and on a fixed income, so he's probably got the ability to qualify for this. And again, he could have probably what he had, if not better, potentially, for less money.
As always, Julian, you are a wealth of information. Thank you.
You're welcome. And also another thing to add with this is they do not charge you equipment rental or any of this other stuff for installation fees.
That's great.
So it really is just the best way to go for that caller, and I hope that he's able to take advantage of it.
att.com/access.
Yeah.
And Julian, plug your website.
It's www.techjv.com. That's www.techj as in John, V as in Victor.com. You can read about all of what I do and the services I provide, as well as stuff I make available for the greater community as well.
He helps blind and low vision users with mobile technology, and it's always been a great resource for the show. So it's always nice to hear from you. Did you hear our blind deaf Potter earlier?
I heard that earlier, and I was
fascinated
with what he's doing and what he's trying to accomplish. That Iris service, I've mentioned it here before as well. It's a wonderful service because they can remote into your PC and help you fill out inaccessible stuff or help you take pictures. They can help you with all kinds of really neat stuff. And what's nice about them is that because they are trained, paid employees, they know how to provide service to our community, and they are under NDA. So you can actually have them help you with sensitive documents.
Oh, that's great.
A little more comfortable about it.
Who funds this?
This is user-funded. You subscribe to it. They have several different services. They also have, in certain areas, what are known as free access locations where in the case of, let's say, LAX, for example, they're one of them. If you are in LAX, you can use the Iris service free of charge, and they can help you get around the airport and things like that because the airport basically paid for it.
AIRA.io, and I see that Starbucks has launched Ira Access in all its U.S. stores. That's awesome.
Yeah, there's several of them. Target, I think, does it. There's several stores that do it.
It's really, really inspiring. It's really great. Pleasure talking to you, Julian. Thank you for the update. Check and see if there's effectively Lifeline access from AT&T for you. There are obviously some income or other requirements. att.com/access. Really good to know. John on the line from Lakewood, California. Hello, John. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo. After listening to Johnny Jett's episode, I feel like my problems are right.
Well, we're just take care of yourself and take care of the people around you, and that's what Johnny is. He's so inspiring. He takes such good care of his dad. I'm always moved by that. What can I do for you?
Awesome. Okay, I have 2 questions. I'm a teacher, and I've been using my MacBook Pro. It's a 2012. I increased the memory to 8 gigs. It's slowing down, and I'm just looking for some advice. as far as what's out there and what you might recommend.
What year did you say it was?
2012.
Yeah, it's pretty old. So 9 years, yeah. And in fact, you're not going to be able to put the latest operating system on it, things like that.
No.
You should look at, I would go to ifixit.com, or another one is Otherworldcomputing at macsales.com, and look at what upgrades you can do. You may be able to put in... Go ahead.
What I'm looking for is like buying a new one.
Oh, well, that I can help you with.
The old one.
I didn't want to spend your money unnecessarily.
No, please, spend my money. My wife has given me free reign.
Oh, good. Well, I would say, okay, so this is a tricky time of the year to buy anything from Apple because we know they're going to have some events. The iPhone event is a week or two off. Probably there'll be a laptop event in October, almost certainly.
Okay.
The rumor is they will announce new higher-end MacBooks. And so the stuff they announced last year, by the way, fantastic. I have the 13-inch MacBook Pro on the M1 chip. You couldn't go wrong buying that. It's so much faster than what you've got. Okay. It's really great. But my concern is you're going to say, Leo, you should have told me that next month they were going to introduce this new thing. And all I know is rumors. So rumors are that sometime in the next month or two, they will announce a MacBook Air based on a little bit faster chip, an M1X. These will be in color. But more importantly, if you need horsepower, and I don't know what you do with your computer.
I use it for making PowerPoint presentations pretty much. I'm not a gamer.
Okay. Then anything you get right now would be fine.
Okay.
It's probable they'll announce a somewhat improved M1X chip this fall in a MacBook and a Mini. We thought they would announce it in June, a 16-inch ready to go. I think there were chip shortages or screen issues with the Mini LED screens, and so they couldn't. But I wouldn't be surprised if they released them in the next month or two. So those will be for the higher end. But I think you'd be, for battery life, performance, and portability, and just sheer elegance, I think that MacBook Air is a very good choice.
Okay, I'm looking. My daughter's a sophomore at college, and she's using my older daughter's old Air.
Okay, so you're familiar with the Airs.
Yeah, and I want to replace hers at the same time. So
be a great choice for a student. Again, though, I mean, she's already in school, so she needs it now. This is always a problem with Apple. There's always, especially right around now, they're going to release new ones.
Yeah.
And I have to say, she's going to look at these, and maybe I'm being a little judgmental, but I think she's going to look at these color MacBook Airs. It's rumored they're going to do the same color combinations they did with the new iMacs. I want one. They're beautiful. So I can just see her saying, Dad, you got me the same old boring, gold or gray MacBook Air, and I could have had orange.
Yeah. She's not that kid.
Oh, good. You're in luck. Get it today. They're great. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, I think you're going to love them. Yeah, I think they're really, really good. What do you teach?
I teach algebra, 8th grade algebra.
Oh, man. My 8th grade algebra teacher was such an inspiration.
I wish I was my 8th grade algebra teacher.
Yeah, because there are very bad ones, too.
Yeah.
But I was lucky enough to have, maybe it was in 9th grade, but a really good algebra 1 and 2 teacher. He was prickly. He'd throw chalk at you if he thought you weren't paying attention, or an eraser from time to time. But
I won't say I've never done it.
But he made it interesting and fun, and he did something that stayed with me for my entire life. And this was in the 70s. He turned us into a little computer. He set the chairs up in rows and had us become processors, and we'd do something and pass it on to the next guy and the next guy and the next guy. I don't know how he knew how to do that, because it was early in the computer revolution, but it stayed with me for my whole life. It gave me a deep understanding of how computers work, even to this day. So thank you. Bless you for what you're doing, because if you can turn people on to math at that age, that's really good.
That's pretty much my goal every year.
Yeah, especially girls. This is when they go, oh, I don't want to do this. But obviously, your daughter is not that person. So
no, not at all.
That's nice. That's great.
Hey, do you have time for me to ask you one other question?
I sure do.
Okay, so have you ever heard of the company or the website Donors Choose?
Yes.
Okay, so I did a donor's choose, and I was overwhelmed by the response I got. I got a new projector.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah, well, here's the problem. So I bought an Epson Home Cinema 880 because it had outstanding reviews for brightness, and I'm like, I need bright in my classroom.
Right.
But I have an old Samsung document camera, and I'm having issues connecting the projector to my dock camera. And the projector has a USB-A, a USB-B, and an HDMI port.
And does the dock have HDMI out?
Well, I tried the connectors, like an adapter to VGA to USB.
What does the camera have out? Does it have...
It's got two VGAs. It's got a USB to USB. And so...
What kind of camera is this?
The document camera?
Oh, it's a document camera. So,
yeah,
I get it. So, okay.
I do my lesson underneath it.
I get it.
It up on the wall.
I get it. Okay. This is like the old projectors that teachers used to use with the plastic. Yeah. So it's a document camera. Oh, that's a good way to do it. Yeah. Okay, so this is purpose-built for that exact thing. That's why it's got USB out and all that.
Yeah.
But you can't connect it. See, VGA... So the problem with these cinemas, they're not what we call PowerPoint projectors. They're, they're not for offices and schools. They're for watching movies.
Yeah, I called Epson, and the lady on the other end said, like, I'm sorry, but it won't connect to your document camera. I'm like, no way. There's got to be a way around it.
Yeah, they want HDMI.
Okay, so I just went to Best Buy today, and I bought an HDMI to VGA adapter.
There you go.
When I get to school on Monday, I'm praying that this actually works.
It should.
Okay.
It's expensive because what's coming out of the VGA is analog. So basically, it's got circuitry in it to convert the analog VGA signal into the digital signal HDMI needs.
Okay.
So
I hope it works because the projector, the people that funded my projector, I mean, I didn't go cheap.
No, you got a good one. Good for you.
Great one. And I'm like, I got to find a way to make this work.
Yeah. So the projector has only HDMI in probably, right?
Yeah.
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 Does it support... Okay, here's another... Well, you might be able to get it to work with Chromecast or something like that, or DLNA.
Okay.
But you would then have to have the document camera would have to be... I think what you got's going to work.
Okay.
I'm going to cross my fingers. There's a lot of, caveats on that because HDMI is finicky and, but at least you can return it if it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But so tell me again what the document camera has. It has VGA and is it data over the USB?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
What kind of... So it shows up as a camera on a computer. That's the other way that you could do it. Okay, actually, this might work. If you hook the document camera up to a computer, which is what they expect you to hook it up to.
I do, yeah.
That's why they have the USB. Most computers, if they don't have HDMI out, like your MacBook, well, your pretty old MacBook, your new MacBook will have a Thunderbolt 3 out that can... It's easy. Apple sells them. Yeah. Thunderbolt to HDMI.
That's true. Okay.
That will be more reliable than this VGA to HDMI.
Yeah.
Because then it's digital all the way.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So this is another reason to get that new MacBook Air.
Yeah, I don't want a giant, expensive paperweight. So.
Yeah, in fact, so the Thunderbolt coming out of most modern computers has HDMI on it. You have to get an adapter, but it has HDMI on it. It has video on it.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and that will work just fine with the projector. In fact, you probably can already. Can you already hook up your laptop to that projector?
Oh yeah, I've been doing it for years.
So just the document. So then you're all set. Document camera into your laptop into the projector.
That's what I've been doing. I have a dock cam or my MacBook hooked to the document camera, and then the document camera hooked to the projector. So all my PowerPoint presentations basically funnel through that whole system.
Oh, you just want something to eliminate the laptop?
Well, yeah, I need to be able to do. So there's a button on the document camera that just you push it and it toggles in between. Are you using your computer or do you want to use the document camera? So I push that and I show my PowerPoints. I push it again and it shows my hand writing all my notes and stuff.
Okay.
So
okay.
It's been working like that for years, and now I've got a high-end
projector. But the projector just wants HDMI, so you could do that out of your MacBook probably.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. Well, anyway, you got to box it. It's just it's a little, as somebody in the chat room said, kind of hinky. The VGA to HDMI is a little hinky.
I know.
Do you still have a Donors Choose? Can I send people to your Donors Choose?
I don't. It's been funded.
Nice. Congratulations.
So, yeah.
I'm glad that worked. Was it mostly parents, you think?
You know what? I do. The school I work at has a great outreach.
That's great.
To the community.
I'm so happy.
Most of the people that donated were anonymous, but they, made little comments like, "You taught my son."
Oh, you see, you make a difference. People remember that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, they're lucky to have you, John.
Thanks, Leo.
Keep up the good work.
All right.
Yeah, a great algebra teacher in 8th grade. Boy, that's solid gold. That's changing the world. Keep doing it. Take care.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. 888-827-5536. Hour number 3 of the Tech Guy Show. Just got a new laptop with a different idea behind it. And I have to report it's a success. Maybe you've heard about the right to repair movement. These days when we get hardware, whether it's a smartphone or even a laptop, there are no user serviceable parts inside. Everything's glued in and very expensive to repair if it's repairable at all. In fact, think about the environmental impact of Apple's earbuds or all of these battery-powered earbuds. They're so small you can't replace the battery in many cases. You just have to throw them out after a couple of years. That's, that bugs me a little bit. So I've been looking for, and I would love to find a phone that we could do this, but I've been looking for devices that are repairable, that are fixable, that are even perhaps upgradable. Remember you'd buy a computer and you could upgrade the sound card and the video card and sometimes even upgrade the processor. So there's a company, a little startup called Framework at frame.work. They're trying to do this with laptops. And I just wanted to support them because I honestly think we need stuff that we can repair, that we can upgrade so that we don't end up throwing it out after a few years. And I ordered a Framework laptop. They started at $1,000. They're PCs, but they're configurable and they're repairable. In fact, the one I got, which, I kind of maxed it out with a lot of RAM and a lot of hard drive and an i7 Intel processor and all that. It's about $2,000, which is actually about the same as any other laptop would cost. The difference is this laptop, you can open up. In fact, they even send you the screwdriver. The one I ordered, all of the devices came separately, and I kind of wanted it that way. It's the DIY, the do-it-yourself version of this laptop. And so I had to open it up and put the memory in, put the hard drive in, even put the Wi-Fi card in. But when I opened it up, I discovered inside all of the parts are marked with a QR code. They're clearly labeled. They're removable. The speakers, the battery, even the motherboard, they're removable. And a lot of it's stock, like the hard drive and the memory, just a standard, Crucial and Western Digital stuff. The proprietary stuff will end up being the motherboard just because of the shape and the battery. And my hope is this company will do well enough so that down the road I might be able to upgrade, for instance, the processor to a more modern processor. Or if the battery wears out, as they do after a few years, put a new battery in it myself. It's not glued in. It's upgradable. Now, I thought I'd be making some sacrifice, with this laptop. Like, well, is it going to feel a little rattly? You know, it's going to feel like it's going to fall. And no, it's great. In fact, I would say it's comparable to my Dell XPS, a premium quality laptop. Runs great. You can get it with Windows. I got it without any operating system, so I could put Linux on it. I put my current favorite flavor of Linux, Manjaro, on it. And everything worked out of the box. Everything, the trackpad, the buttons, even the fingerprint reader, all the function keys, they all worked beautifully. I am very, very impressed. Nice screen, great keyboard. So if you're looking for a laptop and you want to kind of support this idea that maybe these things should be repairable and even upgradable, Frame.work. I was very impressed. There's a company I've known for a long time. They've been sponsors of our podcast, iFixit. They take stuff like this and they look at it and they give it a repairability grade. The Framework laptop got a 10 out of 10 for repairability from iFixit, which I don't think I've ever seen. That's the best you can get. So good job, Framework. They're a U.S. company. I'm sure most of the components are made overseas, but they're a U.S. company, and I'm just very, very pleased that they've come up with this. So I just wanted to give them a little plug. I bought it. I didn't get a free review unit or anything like that. I'm very impressed. 8888 Ask Leo. Back to the phones. Daniel's on the line from Fresno, California. Hello, Daniel.
Hey, Leo.
Welcome. What can I do for you?
I have a weird kind of situation. I'm blind as well. I've got a lot of blind callers today.
You know what? That's the nature of radio, right?
Pretty much.
Radio's perfect for that. You're not missing any pictures.
Nope. And so I was working with somebody the other day, and they told me, hey, you have a bunch of stuck pixels on your computer monitor for my PC.
Okay.
So I thought, okay, well, it's been about 5 years. I'll just buy a new monitor. It's not a big deal.
Do you have some vision so you could see it?
Yeah, I have some vision.
Okay.
And you could definitely tell that there were stuck pixels.
Okay. So you can see them too. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I decided to go ahead and just buy a new monitor.
Okay.
I did. Got it, connected it. Initially, I connected it using VGA because I have a video magnifier that I use.
Oh, neat.
I put text under a little camera and it magnifies it onto the computer monitor. But when I did that, I got these like bars of color across the screen instead of a picture.
Uh-oh.
So I thought, well, that's weird, So I said, well, you know what? I'll try HDMI and see what happens with that. So I try HDMI and I switch the inputs on the monitor and I get no signal.
Oy.
But the computer itself is working because JAWS is reading everything to me. The Windows is working fine. I can reboot it. And matter of fact, I made an image of my computer thinking, well, I might need
of all people, this happened to you. The screen isn't vital, right?
No.
So, but still, you deserve to have a screen that works. So it worked fine with the old screen. It's just this new one doesn't work.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Did you check the device drivers? Because believe it or not,
I did.
Okay, because monitors have device drivers, sort of. I mean, they're just text files.
I even went in and deleted it and rebooted. And I noticed, one thing I noticed was that it said generic, PNP monitor. I deleted it, rebooted, and same thing. So the new monitor that I bought is a ViewSonic. So I went to ViewSonic and I downloaded the latest drivers that they have for the monitor.
Good.
And I tried to install it, but it would not let me.
It wouldn't let you?
It said Windows has the best...
already has the best driver. You don't need this one.
Yeah. I'm like, what do you mean?
Apparently not the best driver because I can't see the screen. It's not working.
I even tried to go into the resolution thinking, well, because I bought just a plain 1920 by 1080. And I went in thinking, well, maybe just the resolutions are screwed up or something.
Well, it's probably the refresh rate or the window or the. You might try starting in safe mode, and then try to install the drivers.
Okay, I haven't tried that yet.
Yeah, because it's using the driver if you're not in safe mode. When you go into safe mode, it's going to look even worse. Actually, this is a good test. The monitor should show up, but it should show up as 640 by 480. It should show up as the most lowest denominator monitor. So then try installing then, and at that point it should say, oh, yeah, this is a bet. Oh, this is much. Oh, that's nice, and install.
Uh-huh.
Okay. These drivers are really just text files, files that say what the refresh rate is, what the resolution is, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird that it won't let you install. Well, wait a minute. I already have the best driver. It's already the best driver.
Yeah, it was really weird. I'd never seen that message before.
Yeah. You also, in theory, in the device manager, you can pick a driver, open it, and select it, and it shouldn't give you that message. That message is just a plug-and-play message. So, but try it in safe mode, see if it works. That'll be the easiest. Plus, the advantage of going to safe mode, it'll at least tell you if the monitor is working okay and connecting okay, because it could be the cable, it could be something else.
Well, I just switched out the cables because it came with two cables. It came with VGA and the HDMI.
Right.
And I'm thinking it can't be the video card, right? Because would it boot if it was the video card?
Well, it could be, yeah, but but it was working before, so I don't think. I mean, it could. It's some coincidences happen. Could have failed at the same time as you got a new monitor. There are a few. I'm going to put a link in the show notes to how to force a driver install. But the first thing I'd try is in safe mode. But I'll put this link because there are other things that you can do to get around this. You already have the best driver. Shut up, Windows. I'm trying to make this work. Shut up. So there are ways to fix that and get around it. And I'm going to put an article that describes manual installation through the device manager and some other tricks that you can try, like removing the driver. But the first thing I do is boot into safe mode just to see if the monitor is working in the lower quality VGA mode. If it is, good. You just got to get the right driver installed. And in fact, I think installing it in safe mode should work fine.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, sounds good.
Hey, it's great to talk to you, Daniel.
Okay.
Thanks for calling. Keep listening. Yeah. Windows gets on my nerves a little bit. I got to admit. I know people get mad at me. They say, you shouldn't be mean to Windows. I think I should be mean to Windows, to be honest. Windows is mean to us. I think it's fine to be mean to Windows. Microsoft can take it. And you know what? When Microsoft's not doing a great job, I think we got to call them on it too. I really do. Oh, that might be. It's not an auto-sensing monitor. It's still looking for VGA. So that you know what, Daniel? I hope you're still listening. Chat room, thank you. I should have thought of that. If it was a VGA monitor before, he didn't mention. But if it was a VGA monitor before and the new monitor does not automatically sense the new input, it might still be looking at the VGA port for the signal. So you're going to find the button on the monitor and select HDMI. I don't know. But I think that's a good point, Chumley. It may be if the monitor and even the auto select monitors I found are funky sometimes. They can't figure it out. Oh, somebody sent an email to Premiere saying, you shouldn't let this guy on the radio. He hates Windows. I'm just being honest. I got to call it as I see it. I don't have any axe to grind or anything. I just got to call it as I see it. Lately, Windows has been quite annoying. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. Jeff's on the line from Knoxville, Tennessee. Hello, Jeff.
Hello, Leo.
Hello.
Good to talk to you again.
Nice to talk to you.
If I don't have any complications of COVID by Christmas, I'll go out there and be ho-ho again.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah.
Are you a Santa?
Oh, yeah. I've been a professional Santa for 30 years.
30 years. So, yeah, and we talked. I remember last Christmas you couldn't do it.
Yeah. And if we keep going with these various things with COVID, I don't know that I'll do it again this year.
That's going to break a lot of kids' hearts. But you know what? We got to protect the kids because they can't get any vaccines. So we got to make sure they're safe too.
The problem is that parents don't seem to understand, and so they bring their kids many times when they're really sick. I had one
that's not
on my
good.
lap that had a high temperature.
Oh no!
And she said, well, yesterday he was in the hospital at 104, but he's okay. He's okay today.
Oh, Santa, you'll be fine. Don't worry. The elves can take care of you. Oh, man. That's pretty inconsiderate, I have to say.
When we finish, if you would please put me back to Kim, I'd appreciate it.
I will, Santa.
What I wanted to ask you about is for many years I've used Geek Squad to answer a lot of my questions and help me with my computer.
Yes.
Now I'm laying in a hospital bed in a rehab facility.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, it's not your fault and it's not mine. It's called AGE. Age is a trap.
Yeah.
Don't get caught up in that.
It's better than the alternative, Santa. Now you know that.
Yeah. Well, I've used, like I said, I've used Geek Squad for several years, and they've always been a help. But this year, when I tried to call to renew, I couldn't get through on the phone because of COVID. And so I was 2 months late in trying to get my renewal. And when I did call in for the renewal, they said, "Oh, it's no longer $109; it's $199."
Yeah.
That's because they'll repair air conditioners and refrigerators. Where the facility I'm in, I don't need any of that because they take care of it.
Well,
what I need is there an alternative to Geek Squad for my computers?
So there are other companies. In fact, we had a sponsor for a long time, and their founder still is a regular in our chat room. There's a company called Nerds On Site, which is a perfect name, nerdsonsite.com. I don't know if they serve the Knoxville area, but you can call their 800 number and see. And, I think these days they're probably doing it remotely, so probably can do it anywhere.
Well, that's what I need, remote.
Yeah, nerdsonsite.com or 877-696-3737. And then what I always, remember, we're old enough to remember the old days of shade tree mechanics, right? Most small towns that have, right? There'd be a guy, he just, he didn't have a big shop or anything, but he could fix anything. And
it's funny you say that, Leo, because when I graduated from the University of Tennessee with a BS, I went to Detroit and went to work for a company up there, and I got my MD, and that stood for motor doctor.
There you go.
Then I went to work in NASCAR.
So, wow. Well, you're that guy then. I bet you could fix anything, right? Anything with a motor in it.
There was a time when I could, exactly.
Not anymore, though. It's gotten so darn complicated, you have to have a $30,000 machine to plug in.
Absolutely. So nerd.com.
Nerds, NERDSONSITE.com. And of course, they're not on site these days. They're remote, but someday, God willing, they'll be able to come over and fix stuff. And I wish there was at NERDS, nerds, ON, on, site, SITE.
Nerdsonsite.com.
Yep.
.com.
And they offer business and residential services. I don't know what their pricing is. At least there's one company that you could talk to. I feel like every town, I'm sure Knoxville has the equivalent of a shade tree mechanic. The problem is there's no really good way to vet them. But I know, because they listen to this show, and I've talked to them all the time, there are people who are, really glad to help you. People like you, Jeff, because you help kids, and you're a great guy. And for a reasonable cost, maybe $50, to fix your computer or install something or get something working. The problem is there's no central way of vetting these people or figuring out where they are or anything. I mean, I guess you could look in the classifieds or Craigslist or, online for somebody. I'm sure Knoxville's a big enough area that there's got to be some people who do that. Maybe somebody listening will know. Hey, I'll put you on hold so you can talk to Kim. So hang on. We're going to take a break. More of your calls coming up right after this. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, the disco-y tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo. That's the phone number, 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. On we go with the show to line 4, Richard in West Los Angeles. Hello, Richard.
Hi, Leo. Good to talk again.
Nice to talk to you.
I've had my older speakers hooked up through my AV receiver with the optical cable for years.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I'm only getting sound from one speaker, the right speaker.
So the optical cable's coming from the TV
Yes.
into the AV receiver. The AV receiver is going out, powering speakers. Can you play, do the other speakers work if you play music or something else?
I tried playing radio, actually.
Okay. Whatever else you got, yeah.
It doesn't work.
Oh, okay. So it's not the TV. It's not the optical connection. It starts with the receiver.
Okay.
Right? Because you played the radio from the receiver, not from the TV, I presume.
Right.
Right. So we know it's somewhere in the receiver is not powering. And you looked in the back to make sure, obviously, you looked in the back to make sure the wire's connected and all that, right?
Only 3 times.
Okay. I mean, some wire can get corroded. It can fail. It could be that speaker's gone bad, too.
Yeah, I thought of that, but it could be. It's an older speaker. It's a Techniques from the year.
What I'd really want to do is get some. I mean, the radio's a good start, but maybe that's mono. So, do you have any other? Like, can you play any other audio into that AV receiver? I know you don't have a turntable, but maybe you could plug.
I do have a turntable.
Oh, well, does it turn?
I haven't tried that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, try the turntable, and just to see if you still don't hear anything from the right speaker. Either the speakers failed, I would first, you always do the easy thing first. At least try replacing the wire, maybe the wire gun. You don't have rabbits in the house, do you? Because they love that stuff.
No, I don't have any pets.
My rabbits.
Not even a pigeon.
Made a big mistake. We let rabbits in the house. This is my kid. My daughter reminded me that she was little at the time. They ate right through the cable. Apparently, they love the flavor of the electrical insulation on the cable. I was just glad we didn't have a fricasseed rabbit in the house. But so you want to make sure that you don't have to just kind of do a bad job running the cable from the AV receiver to the speaker. But first, try the turntable. Oh, in troubleshooting, you always do the easy thing first. Try the turntable. Can you hear the left channel and right channel? Okay, good. Then the AV receiver is working. Then there's something else going on. But if you can only hear one speaker, then we know it's either in the receiver, and it's possible that receiver. One thing again, another simple thing, flip the wires. So put the left wire on the right posts, the right speaker on the left posts.
Right.
And now if the speaker doesn't work on the left, now we know what's wrong. It's not the wire, it's not the speakers, it's the AV receiver. So you just got to narrow it down to what it is that's not working.
If I don't hear anything, if I hear something playing a record.
Now it's complicated. I almost hope you don't, because basically, yeah, if you hear something on record, then it's the TV or the optical cable, and you'll then want to look at the menus settings in the TV, make sure the balance is where it should be, that that the left and right speakers are turned on. Some AV receivers. Yours might, depending on its vintage, have a sound check capability. Mine has something called Odyssey, Audessey. And Odyssey is really cool. I use this anytime I reconfigure my living room. It comes there. The speaker, the AV receiver came with a little microphone. You plug into the front. You put it where people are seating, at the seating position, and then you go into the testing mode. As soon as you plug in the microphone, it says, oh, do you want to test it? And then it'll test all the speakers. If you have something like that on the AV receiver, that would also be worth trying.
Check the manual. I don't think so, but maybe.
Yeah.
It's an Onkyo that's probably 3 years old.
Oh, Onkyos would.
Oh, okay.
Onkyos, in fact, mine's an Onkyo. I like Onkyo a lot. Mine's a Denon, but very similar, and I love the Onkyos. It probably does have some sort of audio configuration setup that would include a microphone. You don't care about the microphone. You don't even worry about the setup. You just want to see if you can find some source that will play all the speakers in order.
Exactly right.
Yep.
Okay, I'll give those all a shot. Thank you.
That'll narrow it down. Now, in a way, that's the easiest thing. If the speaker's out, easy to get a new one. If the AV receiver is old, well, maybe you need a new. Although it's only a 3-year-old Onkyo, you probably don't need a new AV receiver. Those things never go bad. If the turntable gives you left and right, that's going to be complicated. Now we got to figure out what's going on. Again, with troubleshooting, you do the easy, cheap thing first. So maybe you swap out the optical cable just to make sure it's not the cable. Make sure it's plugged in all the way. Make sure the settings on this, for instance, on the front of the Onkyo, when you start playing sound from the TV, the Onkyo will tell you what it's getting. It'll say PCM or Dolby Audio. It'll say what it's getting. If it's getting stereo. If it's getting mono, then maybe the TV's not setting the full left-right stereo. There's diagnostics is actually that's my jam. I kind of like diagnostics. I like figuring out what's going on, why it's not working right. And the rule of thumb is always do the cheapest, easiest things and work your way up to the hard, difficult, expensive things. Dale on the line from Deep River, Connecticut, aptly named these days. Hi, Dale. How deep is that river? Dale? Oh, Dale. I guess we've lost him, or Dale, maybe you're still on mute. He told...
I'm sorry, I hit the mute on the mic.
See, I can tell. I diagnosed that from a long way away. Hi, Dale.
Thank you for hanging on.
They don't call me the tech guy for nothing.
And remote like that.
That's amazing. Yeah, I only know because it happens all the time. What can I do for you, Dale?
So we have a loved one's iPhone that has passed away. And we want to back up like photos and contacts, messages, and not keep paying the carrier every month.
No, you don't need to. You don't. But now the carrier might have some stuff that's not on the phone. But on an iPhone, messages, all that stuff's on the phone. Unless she erased them or did something with them. So there are a number of ways to do this. Depends on... I'll tell you what I use that works great. It's called iMazing, but it's not. There's a free try, but it's $50 for 3 devices. So it might not be worth buying just for this, but this will do it. You plug it in, it will copy even WhatsApp messages, Apple's messages, all the photos, all the music, all the ringtones. If she's got books on there, Safari bookmarks, everything.
Is that a one-time $50 fee?
No. It's to own the software. So
one time.
Yeah, one time. Yeah, it's not a subscription. That's right. If you have an iPhone yourself or an iPad, then it might be worth it.
Well, in this situation, it's worth it.
Okay. There are other companies that make similar devices, but this is the one I've been using lately. And I really, really like it. I can give you some. It's imazing.com.
All right. Very good. The other question is my wife, if we can switch on, my wife has a Pixel 3.
Yeah.
And it suddenly started going into do not disturb mode by itself automatically. And
check the settings that you can set, and I do this with mine. You can set it to go into do not disturb at certain times of day. There are programs you can put on there like Tasker that will do it. Like when you get home, it turns on do not disturb. You're going to want to check your settings for something that's turning it on automatically. You scare me a little bit because there's another problem with the Pixel 3 I'll mention later. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. It could be a flaw in it. When you said it going into, I got scared because a number of people started to report that this Pixel 3 is basically going into a bricked mode, a firmware update mode. Yeah, and I thought, oh no, but good. Okay, so it's still working.
Well, we had a family emergency this week, and
she didn't get the call.
Calls and I did research that and checked settings and couldn't find them.
Couldn't find it. Yeah, because that's what I do. I have it on a schedule because I don't want to be bothered at night.
I did see that. I did see those settings.
Yeah. Okay, so how could it go into DND automatically?
I know sometimes I was saying like in a car there was a setting that'll do not disturb when you're driving.
Right.
I didn't see that, and it's happened when she's not been in the car as well. So maybe the chat guys, people will have an idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought you were going to say the EDL message, and I was scared. Yeah.
I kind of doing it off the air. So the emergency was a loved one passed away this week.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, and we don't know like the passcode and things to the phone.
Oh, that's going to be so. The iMazing will not work around the passcode.
Right. Well, was a carrier or Apple help you with like a death certificate and all those kinds of?
I don't think that anybody will help you. It would be Apple.
Right.
It would be Apple. You remember the FBI asked Apple to do this in San Bernardino, and they said no.
Yep. Right. I thought that was decrypting or something. Or that.
Well, it's the same thing. The phone was locked, and they wanted a way around the code. And the reason Apple, even though you've got a death certificate and stuff, they don't want to make the presumption that your loved one wanted you to see what's on the phone.
Right, or that they could break the encryption.
Yeah, they wanted to. You can request it. What I would suggest, and this is actually what Apple told the FBI, believe it or not, take the phone to where it belongs, at home or her house or whatever, and let it back up to iCloud. It can do that even if it's locked.
Okay.
At that point, you can request access to the iCloud account, which will have all the messages and everything on it.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't get them to unlock the phone, but they can access the iCloud account. And there is an Apple support page, which ScooterX has just given us, how to request access to a deceased family member's Apple accounts.
Oh, great. Thanks, Scooter.
Yep. So, but you need a court order.
Sure.
So,
nothing super critical. It's just memories and things.
Yeah, of course. Of course. This is why I haven't done it yet. I keep thinking I got to do this. I got to, do a document in case of my death with all the passcodes, all the passwords and stuff. And of course, we all say, oh yeah, I'll do that as soon as I get around to it. And then
digital continuity kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I do with my password manager. I've given access to my wife and my daughter to my passwords, but come to think of it, my phone unlocking code is not in there, so I should probably do that as well. So yeah, I'll put a link in the show notes. Actually, we've already got it because Scooter put it's HT 208510 in the support documents on Apple. But you could just Google how to request access to a deceased family member's Apple accounts.
Thanks so much, Leo.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Unexpected, it sounds like.
Yes.
I'm so sorry. I really apologize. Not condolences,
Thanks
I guess. Yeah. Take care. All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We take you now to New York's newest water park and casino. Take your chances with Dickie D's Disneyland Water Adventure. Hello, Dick D. Bartolo.
Hey, Leo. Yeah, don't bother washing your hands before you get in the subway. We'll be washing them for you as you enter the train.
Hurricane Ida really hit the Northeast hard. You're all right? Everything's okay?
Yes. I was worried. It was very funny. I was worried that the bilge pump on my boat could keep up. And I have a 360 camera down there. And so I flipped it around, turned it around with my phone so it faced the dashboard. And every time the bilge pump goes on, a red light goes on. So I go, oh. my bilge pump is working. I don't have to go down there and worry. Then about 11:30, the camera went out, and I thought, well, the marina lost power. But I kept checking back, and at midnight, the camera came on, and Leo, there's someone on my boat.
What?
Yeah, I know.
This is why you have a camera.
I thought, and they're like, they keep vanishing out of view because I can only see for the waist up, and it looks like they're going through the drawers.
Oh, Dick.
No. And I'm thinking, let me see. One person has the key to my boat other than Dennis. He's out on Long Island working on a boat. I remember you can talk through the camera, and out of the blue, I just say, Bob.
And he jumped 4 feet straight up.
This man turns around and says, hey. I said, what are you doing on my boat in the middle of a hurricane? He goes, I have an early meeting tomorrow morning. He said it took me about 5 hours to get here.
What?
And I wanted to sleep on your boat so I could be ready in the morning. He said, your power's out, but I fixed it while I was here.
Oh, well, that was nice of Bob.
It was great. And he said, one of your windows is open like half an inch and water is spraying. So it turned out to be, from being
blessing.
Terrified,
yes,
a great blessing. He turned the power back on, closed the windows, dried stuff out. It was great. But what a shock it is to see somebody standing in the boat.
This is why we have these cameras.
Yeah, no, it was great.
And I love it that you could talk to him. He sounds like he reacted with some equanimity. I would have jumped a mile high if all of a sudden I'm on an empty boat in the middle of the night and I hear, Bob. Oh, Bob.
I said, why didn't you call me? He said, my phone is dead, and I just found your charger. He said, so I just put my... Anyway, it turned out well.
Wow. That is, you have some interesting friends. That's all I can say.
Yes, exactly. It was a very exciting storm.
Dick is Mad Mag. Yeah, my goodness. I'm glad you're okay. And how about, do you take the trains in the backyard? Do you take them in when there's a hurricane?
No, they survived that. And we had a couple of trees down in Riverside Park, but nothing.
No, that's not too bad.
Terrible.
Dick is Mad Magazine's maddest writer. He's the last holdout in New York City. He is not going anywhere. You can move Mad Magazine across the country, but Dick's staying right there in Disneyland. He's also our personal gizmo wizard. We call him our GizWiz. Each week he joins us with a gizmo or a gadget.
Yes.
Today it's a bilge pump. No, what do you got?
No, it's not a bilge pump. It's not a bilge pump. So trolling Amazon looking for new things, I find the Chefman InstaCoffee single-serve coffee maker that brews in 30 seconds.
When you need coffee pronto, you need the Chefman.
I bought that in a moment. Okay. Got out my stopwatch, my old-fashioned 60 minutes stopwatch.
Yeah.
And, well, it's a little bit of a stretch, okay? I will give them that it starts brewing. It actually starts brewing. I did it a bunch of times. The earliest it started brewing was in 27 seconds. But that's where it starts brewing.
Oh,
okay.
Then it has to actually make the cup of coffee.
It takes 2 minutes and 13 seconds to make a full cup of coffee.
Okay.
But it's a very slim
Is this a Keurig kind of thing?
No. It takes K-cups.
K-cups are not the same as Keurig?
They are.
Oh, but it's not from Keurig.
It's not from the Keurig. Their cheapest one is $80.
Okay,
and this one is, I think it's 42 and change. And Chefman, they're not a huge brand, but they make a lot of stuff. I've had other Chefman devices, and it also comes with a little extra reusable filter if you want to brew tea in it, or if you want to use your own favorite coffee grind in that.
Let me ask you, how many different ways of making coffee do you have in your house?
7. I have a Flex View from Hamilton Beach that brews almost in the same amount of time, but that also makes 12 cups on one side. And I like the fact that this is a standalone. So if you want it like this is great for like a dorm or an office, or this would be great for my boat if I wasn't selling my boat. So
maybe Bob will buy
them all. If Bob wants it, he can have.
Bob, take the boat.
I'm still waiting. Hamilton Beach is supposedly coming out with a 90-second coffee maker. So.
Is it that you're in such a big hurry that you just can't wait 2 minutes for a cup of coffee?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I've become very fast at switching mugs while it's brewing. So with this coffee maker, in 1 minute, I swap to an empty mug, and I have a third of a cup of coffee, which is enough to get me going.
You know, last week you mentioned, and this is all on Dick's site. You can see it at GizWiz.biz, GIZWIZ.biz, the mouse jiggler last week. And we were both giggling about what the heck is this for. So on Thursday or Wednesday, my team says, well, Leo, we need a mouse jiggler. I said, what? Yeah, we got a machine. We want to keep it awake, and we need a mouse jiggler for it. I said, I happen to know exactly where to get one.
Oh, that's so funny.
I had no idea, but apparently we need one now. So,
all right, well, good.
We do already have a K-cup maker here. But
yeah, exactly. And they're so cheap, I would mail you mine, but it's probably cheaper to get it on Amazon.
Yeah, yes. Dick DeBartolo, GizWiz.biz. While you're there, make sure you click the link on the nice, new, freshly designed blog. It's more than just a coat of fresh paint. It just smells like completely fresh and clean.
We washed it from corner to corner while
beautiful.
We were doing it.
Click the button that says, what the heck is it? You get a chance to play. Is it the new?
Yes, it's the brand new one.
What the heck is it game? All right, so this is some sort of musical instrument. It looks like, I know what it is. It's a mouse trap. When the mouse gets caught, this horn blows or something. I don't know.
Wow, that's so close that I can't even comment.
Oh, well, okay. It's a mouse trap with a horn. So, but now we also have learned what the July-August what the heck gadget is.
That was the can pump.
It's a can pump.
So it only works on soda cans.
You put it on the top.
Right. Then you can open the hatch to drink soda.
Yeah.
But when you're putting it away or down for an hour or two, you snap it closed and pump the lid.
Yeah.
And it's theoretically pumps some air back into the soda. It works in a very half-butt way.
You're repressurizing your Coke. So, did you get some good answers? Did anybody guess it?
Oh, we have a submarine hatch for a mini submarine.
Yeah.
My favorite was that it is the easy button for Staples stores in Ireland because it's green.
GizWiz.biz. You could play.
People are very clever.
They are great. You're playing for an autographed copy of Mad Magazine from this guy right here, Dick DeBartolo. GizWiz.biz. Thank you, Dickie D. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWiT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on MacBreak Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.